Chapter 1628 Chapter 1628 Taking Action, the Heavenly Bird Palace? Is it also an Emperor-ranked power? Lu Ming asked curiously. That's right, and it's a very terrifying Emperor-level force. The Heavenly Bird Palace is made up of terrifying bird-type demonic beasts and divine beasts, and its experts are as many as the clouds. As for the Phoenix Palace, although we are humans, our bloodline and spiritual body are all related to phoenixes, so the relationship between the Phoenix Palace and the Heavenly Bird Palace is very good. Young Master Tianying is a peerless genius of the Heavenly Bird Palace. He invited me to a banquet, and I couldn't refuse. Lu Ming, you can walk around the Phoenix Palace by yourself. I'm leaving, said Huang Ling. All right, you can go. Lu Ming nodded. The Phoenix spirit turned around and left. Lu Ming strolled around the Phoenix Palace for a while to relax. He returned to his room and planned to enter the mountain and river diagram to continue cultivating. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. There was someone in his room. There were 3 young men who looked at Lu Ming with lightning-like eyes. Buzz. One of the young men moved and appeared at the door. After a while, an inscription scroll appeared. Countless inscriptions filled the air and formed a circle of light that enveloped the room. Everyone, you've entered the wrong room, Lu Ming said calmly. Nonsense. Lu Ming, hand over the map of the tomb of the Reincarnation King. You're not qualified to have it. One of the young men spoke, his voice cold. The 3 young men exuded a powerful aura. They were all experts at the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm. However, they were all upper-grade earth spiritual bodies. Who sent you? Say it and then get lost. Lu Ming shouted coldly. You're looking for death. Since you don't want to hand it over, I'll take it myself. One of the young men shouted coldly. He stepped forward and grabbed at Lu Ming with his palm. His palm enlarged rapidly and was covered in a bloody light. Boom. Lu Ming threw a punch, and it was as if he was crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. The young man's palm exploded directly and his body was sent flying. He crashed into the light circle and broke the light circle. His body crashed through the wall of the room and flew out. Then, Lu Ming turned around and threw another punch. The young man standing at the door was also sent flying by the punch. How is that possible? The last young man was shocked. They were all at the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm and had comprehended the laws. However, they were no match for Lu Ming and were sent flying with each punch. He didn't even think as his figure shot up into the sky, broke through the room, and rushed out. Since you've come, don't leave, Lu Ming said coldly. He moved and chased after the young man, approaching him rapidly. The young man was scared out of his wits and shouted, Young master, save me. Boom. As soon as the other party finished speaking, Lu Ming had already appeared beside him. The flowing essence gloves glowed and he threw a punch, tearing the other party into pieces. Usually, geniuses with superior-grade earth spiritual bodies were no match for Lu Ming unless they had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm and were affected by the laws. They would be easily crushed and killed. Buzz. 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 At this moment, the sound of air being torn could be heard from all directions. More than a dozen figures rushed toward Lu Ming with cold killing intent that was not concealed at all. So many experts had actually entered. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and activated the godly sword technique through sound waves, swarming toward the dozen or so experts. With Lu Ming's soul power, which had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, the divine sword technique was shockingly powerful. Those young men immediately let out shrill screams and fell to the ground one after another, no longer breathing. Damn it, Lu Ming, you deserve to die. An angry roar was heard. A blood-red figure appeared in the air and charged toward Lu Ming. Young master of Blood Prison, it's you, Lu Ming said coldly. The last person to appear was the young master of Blood Prison. At this moment, young master Blood Prison's body was filled with cold killing intent, and his eyes were red. He was furious and his heart ached. Initially, he thought that it would be enough to deal with Lu Ming and a few geniuses at the 2nd stage of the semi-sage realm. He would bring more than 10 experts to support them. However, he did not expect that the 3 experts would be killed by Lu Ming in an instant. Even the other 10 or so experts were killed by Lu Ming's soul attack. These were all geniuses, and it made his heart bleed. He had to tear Lu Ming into 1,000 pieces. And NBSP hoo-hoo. A blood-red flag appeared in his hand. The blood-red flag expanded rapidly and covered the sky. It turned into a sea of blood and enveloped Lu Ming and the entire courtyard. Who is it? The disciples of Phoenix Palace were alarmed and rushed out of their courtyards. They stood high in the sky, but their expressions changed when they saw the sea of blood. The blood sea was too terrifying. If an ordinary person was enveloped by it, only death would await them. It's young Master Blood Prison. How dare he cause trouble in our Phoenix Palace? Go and report to the Holy Maiden. The disciples of Phoenix Palace were in an uproar. There was a huge commotion here. Not only Phoenix Palace, but more than half of the city was alarmed. One figure after another rushed into the sky and watched from afar. It's young Master Blood Prison. He's actually attacking Phoenix Palace. It must be for the map of the tomb of the Samsara Emperor in Lu Ming's hands. But to be honest, Lu Ming is not qualified to control a map. Young Master Blood Prison, aren't you afraid of Feng Ling? He's most likely using some other method to block the Phoenix spirit. Many people thought about it and guessed the purpose of young Master of Blood Prison. Drunken Immortal Restaurant was quite the distance away from Phoenix Palace, but the commotion in Phoenix Palace could still be heard here. Damn it, it's that guy from Blood Prison. Huang Ling rushed out of the Drunken Immortal Restaurant and looked in the direction of the Phoenix Palace with a gloomy expression. Buzz! Buzz! Two figures appeared beside her. One was a young man in a black feather robe, and the other was the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Feng Ling, let's continue drinking. The black-feathered robe youth said calmly. Young Master Tianying, I didn't expect you to join forces with the Blood Prison. You asked me out in advance so that the Blood Prison could make a move, right? Huang Ling coldly looked at the man in black. This man was young Master Tianying of the Heavenly Bird Palace. Young Master Tianying chuckled. He didn't admit or deny it, but there was indeed an aura that locked onto Huang Ling. What's the Blood Prison doing? How could they cause such a big commotion when they're dealing with a mere LV9 martial emperor? Young Master Tianying snorted in his heart. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's face was calm. He didn't know about this before, and now that he did, he wouldn't care. Feng Ling, let's continue drinking. Young Master Tianying continued. All right, if you want to drink, I'll accompany you. Suddenly, Huang Ling let out an inexplicable smile, turned around, and returned to the Drunken Immortal Restaurant. This caused young Master Tianying to be stunned. He had thought that Huang Ling would directly rush to the Phoenix Palace to save him. He did not expect her to return to the Drunken Immortal Restaurant. It seems like Huang Ling and Lu Ming are not on good terms. Sky Eagle laughed in its heart. He didn't know that Huang Ling knew Lu Ming's combat strength. Lu Ming had killed Wan Tianqing back then. Now that his cultivation had improved, he was undoubtedly stronger. Young Master Blood Prison was clearly courting death by targeting Lu Ming. Chapter 1629, 1629 Lu Ming's combat strength in the Phoenix Palace. Young Master Blood Prison activated the blood flag crazily. His entire body was about to turn into a blood-red light and merge into the blood sea to refine Lu Ming. This move again. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Then he raised his hands and held them in the air. Boom. In the sky, a huge chaos sky-turning seal appeared. It pressed down on the blood sea like Mount Tai. Boom. The blood sea trembled violently. A large amount of blood-colored energy was obliterated, and the blood sea was being suppressed and reduced in size. When Lu Ming first fought with young Master Blood Prison, he could only open a hole in the blood sea by using the Chaos Sky-Turning Seal with all his strength. But now, the Chaos Sky-Turning Seal had broken through to the 5th level and its power had increased greatly. Even if Lu Ming did not use his full strength, he could still suppress the blood sea and continuously obliterate it. Buzz. The blood sea trembled. Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and rushed out of the blood sea, standing high in the sky. Azura! Lu Ming, you're an Azura. The blood prison young master roared madly, and his voice spread far and wide. What? Shura? Lu Ming is the Azura? That extremely mysterious and powerful Azura is actually Lu Ming? It's possible. Don't forget that Azura's cultivation is also at the 9th level of the martial royal realm, the same as Lu Ming's. Young Master of Blood Prison's roar shocked many people. Lu Ming was the mysterious Azura who had been challenging experts. The young Master of Blood Prison retrieved the Blood Sea, which turned back into a huge flag and was held in his hand. Lu Ming, since you're an Azura, I've come to the wrong person. After saying this much, the young Master of Blood Prison wanted to leave. He knew that if Lu Ming was an Azura, he would not be able to take him down. Hee, since you've come today, you'll stay here forever, just like your subordinates. Lu Ming said coldly. He took a step forward, and at the same time, light spots appeared on his body. 12 holy weapons floated around him. Lu Ming held the black dragon spear and thrust it at young Master Blood Prison. You want to kill me? Just you. The young Master of Blood Prison bellowed and waved the blood flag. Blood-red light filled the sky as he fought with Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them exchanged a few moves in a row, their chi unrestrained. Lu Ming, even if you use your ultimate move, you'll only be on par with me. You want to kill me? Dream on. The young Master of Blood Prison roared. Kill, die. Lu Ming suddenly shouted and activated his divine sword technique. 2 jet black sword lights shot out from his eyes and rushed into young Master Blood Prison's body. Soul attack techniques are useless against me. I have the spiritual god's defense. The young Master of Blood Prison stopped mid-sentence and let out a painful roar. He felt a tearing pain in his soul. How can your soul be so powerful? The young Master of Blood Prison roared. Lu Ming sneered and stepped into the void. A chaos sky-turning stamp appeared in his palm and he threw it at young Master Blood Prison. Boom. This chaos Empyrean seal had about 60% of its full power, and its power was equally shocking. The young Master of Blood Prison waved the blood flag and attacked the primal chaos sky-turning seal. However, the young Master of Blood Prison was struck by Lu Ming's divine sword technique. His soul was in great pain and his strength was reduced. After the violent collision, young Master of Blood Prison was forced to retreat. Buzz. Another chaos sky-turning seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he pressed it down on young Master Blood Prison. After Lu Ming threw out the sky-turning stamp, a terrifying wave spread out from his palm. One could see that a chaos Empyrean seal had appeared on each of Lu Ming's palms. 2 chaos Empyrean seals had appeared all at once. One after another, they charged towards young Master Blood Prison. At the same time, Lu Ming used the divine sword technique to attack young Master Blood Prison. Boom, boom, boom. Young Master of Blood Prison used all his strength to resist, but after continuously blocking 5 or 6 chaos sky-turning seals, the blood light on his body kept trembling. His face was as pale as paper, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Under the continuous attacks of the primal chaos sky-turning seal and the godly sword technique, the young Master of Blood Prison was severely injured. When his soul power and the chaos sky-turning seal had not broken through, Lu Ming's main body could only fight young Master Blood Prison to a draw even if he used all his strength. But now, he could completely suppress young Master Blood Prison. Let's go! The young Master of Blood Prison was scared. After blasting apart a primal chaos sky-turning stamp, he wanted to escape. However, an even larger sky-turning stamp was formed and pressed down on him. At the same time, Lu Ming's glabella glowed. Ming Lian stepped out, and a Tai Chi formation disc appeared. A Tai Chi pattern appeared and pressed down on young Master Blood Prison. How is that possible? Young Master of Blood Prison's pupils contracted sharply as he tried his best to resist. However, he was unable to resist the main body and the secondary body. Boom. Under the joint attack of the Tai Chi pattern and the chaos sky-turning seal, his body exploded and turned into a mass of blood light. Then, the blood light wriggled and condensed into young Master Blood Prison's body again. However, his aura was much weaker than before. He was extremely weak. Buzz. The Tai Chi pattern above the second Bodhi's head glowed and turned into 2 yin-yang fish swords, which slashed toward young Master Blood Prison. Young Master of Blood Prison was terrified, and he frantically waved the blood flag to block the attack. The yin-yang fish sword turned into two streaks of black and white sword radiance. They cut through the void and struck the blood flag. The blood light of the blood flag was directly broken. The yin-yang fish sword cut two holes in the blood flag, and the power of the blood flag was almost destroyed. "Kill, die!" Lu Ming shouted. This time, he used all his strength to cast the Chaos Sky-Turning Seal. A huge Chaos Sky-Turning Seal formed and was going to kill Young Master Blood Prison. "No, no," Young Master of Blood Prison shouted in fear. He was already severely injured, his aura weak and dispirited. Now that the blood flag was crippled and Lu Ming had unleashed the Chaos Sky-Turning Stamp with all his might, he had a feeling that he was going to be killed by this move. "Lu Ming, you can't kill me. We're in Darkwater City. You can't do it. Senior, save me." The young master of Blood Prison roared like a madman. He wanted to get the native Saint Realm experts in the Darkwater City to interfere. Before he made his move, he was afraid that the local Saint Stage powerhouses would interfere. Now, he desperately hoped that the local Saint Stage powerhouses would intervene. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. There was no movement at all. The native Saint Stage powerhouses did not seem to have any intention of making a move. This surprised many people in the surroundings. In the past, if such a huge commotion was caused, the local saints would have already intervened. However, there was no movement at all today. "Die," Lu Ming said coldly. He raised his hands, and the primal Chaos Sky-Turning Seal emitted a terrifying aura that pressed down on Young Master Blood Prison. At this moment, a terrifying sword light pierced through the void behind Lu Ming. It crossed a long distance in an instant and stabbed toward Lu Ming's back. This sword light was too terrifying. It was fast, accurate, and ruthless. Most importantly, the timing was perfect. It attacked when Lu Ming was attacking Young Master of Blood Prison with all his might. Furthermore, there was no warning at all. Chapter 1630 Killing Blood Prison's Young Master Assassins from the Thousand Kill Mansion. A thought emerged in Lu Ming's mind. Moreover, this was an extremely terrifying assassin. He was 10 times more terrifying than any assassin from the Residence of Thousand Kills that Lu Ming had encountered before. He was definitely a Heaven's Pride expert on the same level as the Blood Prison Young Master, Wan Tiancheng, and the others. Moreover, he was an assassin. If it were any other Heaven's favorite like the Blood Prison Young Master, they would have been killed by this sword without any doubt. But Lu Ming was not just anyone. During this period, he had been on guard against the assassins of Thousand Kill Mansion no matter where he was, even in the war. Therefore, he had sensed it the moment the assassin from Thousand Kills Mansion made his move. He had not let Bubbles make a move because he was on guard against the assassins from Thousand Kill Manor. Therefore, when the sword light pierced Lu Ming's body, his body shattered like glass. Lu Ming's body had already reappeared more than 10 meters away. At the critical moment, Bubbles made a move. She used the space-time domain to move Lu Ming more than 10 meters away while the Chaos Sky-Turning Stamp continued to suppress him. Boom! The primal Chaos Sky-Turning Seal, which was used at full power, struck Young Master Blood Prison's body. His body instantly exploded and turned into a ball of blood light. The blood light wriggled and tried to escape, but the terrifying power of the primal Chaos Sky-Turning Stamp was constantly obliterating Young Master Blood Prison. No! The Young Master of Blood Prison let out an unwilling and miserable cry. Then, the mass of blood light was completely obliterated and disappeared from the world. The Young Master of Blood Prison was dead. At this moment, another sword gleam was aimed at Lu Ming. It was shockingly fast and powerful. However, Lu Ming was already prepared. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch at the sword radiance. The sword radiance trembled and a man in black appeared. He borrowed the power of Lu Ming's punch and retreated rapidly. The second attack was blocked by Lu Ming again. The other party knew that the assassination had failed and wanted to retreat. "Stay here!" Lu Ming kicked the Black Dragon Spear. The Black Dragon Spear turned into a black bolt of lightning and shot towards the other party. Lu Ming used the Thunderwind steps and took a step forward. He grabbed a combat sword beside him and slashed. A 10,000-meter-long sword light slashed toward the man in black. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. The man in black was extremely fast. His figure flashed non-stop, leaving a trail of afterimages behind him. He first dodged the Black Dragon Spear's attack, then slashed out a sword gleam that collided with Lu Ming's sword gleam. However, at this moment, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared around the black-robed man's body, enveloping him within. His body instantly stiffened. The second body controlled the yin-yang fish sword and slashed at the other party. The assassin in black's body suddenly turned illusionary, and then an amazing sword light burst out, breaking the transparent bubble in one stroke. He wanted to escape, but he was still one step too late. The black sword of the yin-yang fish sword slashed his body, almost cutting him in half at the waist. Fresh blood scattered in the sky. The assassin in black roared and his body was covered in a layer of black mist. His speed suddenly increased and he disappeared into the void in a few flashes. The assassins of the 1,000-kill mansion were too powerful. They failed to kill their target and wanted to retreat. Even Lu Ming could not keep them here. All of this seemed to take a long time, but it actually happened in an instant. At this moment, many of the surrounding onlookers finally reacted and gasped. The young master of Blood Prison is dead. Heavens, Lu Ming killed the young master of Blood Prison. He died at the hands of a LV9 Martial Royal Realm martial artist. Unbelievable! Lu Ming is a Shura, and he's become stronger again. Also, what's that body? Could it be a clone? But it doesn't look like it. Even the assassins of the 1,000-kill mansion were injured and forced to retreat. It's too terrifying. The scene was in a clamor. Many people were discussing excitedly and were shocked by Lu Ming's strength and means. In Drunken Immortal Restaurant, young Master Tianning was no longer calm. He stood high in the sky and looked into the distance. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. That blood prison is really courting death. Holding a wine cup, Huang Ling walked to young Master Tianning's side and spoke indifferently. You already knew about Lu Ming's ability? Young Master Tianning said through gritted teeth. Hee, what do you think? Huang Ling smiled. Young Master Tianning's face was as black as charcoal. It was obvious that Huang Ling knew that young Master Blood Prison was no match for Lu Ming, which was why she had been so calm. Young Master Tianning snorted coldly. With a wave of his sleeve, he stepped into the air and left. This Lu Ming is the #1 person. The 10th Golden Crow Prince placed his hands behind his back and spoke calmly before stepping into the air and leaving. Lu Ming, it looks like you've become stronger again. Phoenix Palace. Phoenix Spirit muttered and flew toward the Phoenix Palace. Soon, Huang Ling returned to the Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming, are you all right? Said Huang Ling. I'm fine. Feng Ling, it seems like there's a traitor in your Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming shook his head. And NBSP, the Blood Prison young master's men, had been able to sneak into his room without making a sound, which meant that someone from the Phoenix Palace had helped him. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. I will investigate this matter. Her voice turned cold as she glanced at the disciples of Phoenix Palace. The disciples' expressions changed. Lu Ming, don't you find it strange that the local sage stage powerhouse of Darkwater City didn't make a move this time? Huang Ling said. Indeed. Lu Ming nodded. He also felt that this was a little strange. The two of them discussed for a while but could not come to a conclusion. They could only guess that the local saint stage powerhouses were not around. However, he heard that there was more than one sage realm expert in Darkwater City. It couldn't be that all of them were gone. Since she could not figure it out, she did not think too much about it. Huang Ling arranged a new courtyard for Lu Ming to stay in. The surrounding crowd also dispersed, and the news of this battle quickly spread throughout Darkwater City. This battle had made Lu Ming famous. To be able to kill a genius like the young master of Blood Prison, in the eyes of many, Lu Ming was even more terrifying than Huang Ling. They finally knew why Huang Ling and Lu Ming had the map and key to the tomb of the Samsara King. It was because Lu Ming had the ability to do so. The crowd no longer dared to underestimate Lu Ming, who was a LV9 Martial Royal Realm expert. Of course, There was another matter that had a huge impact. Why didn't the local Saint Stage powerhouses make a move? This matter was very strange and everyone had different opinions. However, in the next few days, this topic became even more heated. This was because there had been a few more battles in Darkwater City these few days, but none of the local saints had made a move. This made many people wonder if the native sages had stopped caring about the situation. In other words, they could attack as they pleased in the city, just like they did outside. As soon as this statement came out, everyone in Darkwater City was in danger. Chapter 1631, 1631 Chapter 1631 Surging undercurrent. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed since Lu Ming killed young master of Blood Prison. In the past 7 days, someone finally entered the Darkwater City with the key and the tomb of King Samsara. In this way, there was only one more copy of the map and key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King. At this time, the atmosphere in Darkwater City became even more solemn. The other 3 cities' supreme talents had also heard about the news of the tomb of the Reincarnation Emperor and entered the Darkwater City. Boom! On the night of the 7th day, there was a shocking sound in Darkwater City. Someone was fighting. One figure after another charged into the sky and looked into the distance. Lu Ming also rushed to the sky from his room and watched from a distance. Buzz. Then, Lu Ming saw a young man rushing into the sky in an attempt to escape. It's him! Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he recognized this young man. This man was the Heaven's favorite who had the key and the map of the tomb of the Samsara King. He was also an expert with a heavenly spiritual body and had comprehended the laws. Boom! A large yellow hand suddenly formed and grabbed at the young man. The young man used all his strength in an attempt to break the hand. In the end, the yellow hand was broken, but the young man himself was also severely injured and spat out a mouthful of blood. Give me the map and key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King, and I'll spare your life. A young man in a yellow robe appeared in the sky, and his vast aura suppressed the surroundings. Law Tank. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this yellow-robed young man was a half-saint with a body of laws. Moreover, he was also a heavenly spiritual body, on the same level as the 10 Golden Crow Princes and Yi Dongfeng. Don't even think about it. The young man roared and tried to break out of the encirclement. However, the yellow-robed young man's eyes turned cold. With a wave of his hand, a huge stone sword appeared in the sky and slashed towards the young man. There was a huge difference between the 2nd stage and the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm. The young man was no match for him at all. After a few moves, his body was penetrated by a stone sword, and the spiritual god was almost destroyed. Don't kill me. I'll give you the map and key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King. In the end, the young man was scared and handed over the map and key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King. The yellow-robed young man put away the key to the map of the tomb of the Reincarnation Emperor and snorted coldly. He stepped into the air and disappeared into the Darkwater City. Although the young man was unwilling, he had no other choice. However, the native saints still didn't make a move. The Darkwater City is going to be in chaos. Many people sighed. The paragons of the other 3 cities had all come to Darkwater City, but the native saints of Darkwater City did not interfere. Everyone knew that Darkwater City was going to be in chaos. Everyone wanted to enter the tomb of the Reincarnation Emperor, including the map. There would be a fight for it. The people who controlled the map and the key of the tomb would probably be reshuffled. For a time, Darkwater City was filled with undercurrents. Lu Ming and Huang Ling's expressions turned solemn as well. Their courtyards were very close to each other. Furthermore, they had been in closed-door cultivation and had not gone anywhere. They were afraid that once they separated, they would be attacked and the map and key of the tomb of the Samsara King would be taken. On the 2nd night, another huge battle happened. A Heaven's favorite who had the key to the map of the tomb of the Reincarnation King wanted to leave Darkwater City at night and hide in the dark. He would come out after he had collected all the keys. However, as soon as he stepped out of the city gate of Darkwater City, he was besieged by 3 Heaven's favorites of the same level. In the end, he was seriously injured and had to hand over the map and the key. As a result, the atmosphere in Darkwater City became even more solemn. Other than the 10 Golden Crow Princes and Yi Dongfang, who they were not afraid of, the other people who had the key to the map of the tomb of the Samsara King had already found people to cooperate with. Their goal was to increase their strength. Otherwise, if they were taken away, they would have nothing left. A few more days passed, but the last set of map keys still did not appear. On this day, 2 figures arrived at the Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming and Huang Ling appeared together. "Zhao Kuang, Sima Liang, it's you? Why have you come to my Phoenix Palace?" said Huang Ling. The 2 who had just arrived were Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. "Huang Ling, Lu Ming, we're here to form an alliance with you." Zhao Kuang said, "There are so many powerful cultivators in the Darkwater City now. How about we form an alliance and go to the tomb of the Samsara King together?" Sima Liang continued, "Oh, an alliance? Do you have the key and the map to the tomb of the Reincarnation King?" Lu Ming asked. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were stunned. "Naturally, I don't. Since you don't have it, what right do you have to form an alliance with us? Get lost." Lu Ming waved his hands casually. These 2 people had a good idea. How could it be so easy to gain something without anything? Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's faces instantly darkened. Lu Ming, the other people in Darkwater City who have the map and key to the tomb are all looking for experts to form an alliance with to increase their strength. The 2 of us are looking for you to cooperate because we think highly of you, but you're so arrogant. Lu Ming, don't think that just because you can kill Wan Tiancheng and Young Master of Blood Prison, you can be lawless and look down on others. If 2 or even 3 people like Young Master of Blood Prison join forces, are you still a match for them? Sima Liang said through gritted teeth. Lu Ming already told you to get lost. Why aren't you getting lost? Huang Ling berated. Good, very good. Then I'll watch as your key to the map is taken away. Zhao Kuang was furious. He unhappily left behind this sentence and left with Sima Liang. Lu Ming and Huang Ling looked at each other with a grave look in their eyes. Then, they returned to their rooms and began to cultivate crazily. However, it was too difficult for Lu Ming's main body to improve its strength in a short period of time. The Chaos Sky-Turning Seal had just broken through, so it was almost impossible to cultivate it to the 6th level in a short time. It was the same for his cultivation base. Therefore, Lu Ming was constantly refining the demonic fiend crystals to improve his soul force. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days passed. All of a sudden, Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He beamed with joy and entered the mountain and river diagram. Ming Lian sat on a mountain with his legs crossed. The Taiji formation disc floated above his head and scattered down rays of light. The golden mental energy fire in between the clone's brows was dancing. Suddenly, the mental energy fire expanded and mental energy rings appeared on the clone's body. There were 10 light spots on the 9th golden spirit ring. This meant that he had finally lit up the 10th spirit lamp and reached the realm of perfection. This realm was equivalent to the first stage of half-saint in martial arts. The next step would be to comprehend the laws. All right. Lu Ming was overjoyed. The improvement of the second body would undoubtedly increase his combat strength. At this critical moment, it would be of great help to him. Then, the spirit ring disappeared, and the second body began to consolidate his cultivation. Lu Ming took over and left the mountain and river diagram to continue refining the demonic evil crystals. However, not long after, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes and rushed out of the courtyard. That was because a few terrifying auras were pressing down on Phoenix Palace. Chapter 1632, 1632 Chapter 1632 4 Against 2 Boom. Boom, boom, boom. There were 4 terrifying auras in total. They rose like smoke and pressed toward the Phoenix Palace. Then, 4 figures walked in the air. With every step they took, the sky would rumble, and a huge pressure pressed down on the Phoenix Palace. A figure flashed and Huang Ling appeared beside Lu Ming. Then, the other disciples of Phoenix Palace rushed out. It's finally here. Huang Ling muttered, her eyes solemn. The heavens' favorites from the other cities are finally going to make a move. 4 people came at once. These 4 people were absolutely terrifying Heaven's Pride experts. Each of them was a Heaven's Pride expert on the level of the Blood Prison Young Master and Wan Tianqing. Without such combat strength, they would not dare to have any designs on Lu Ming and Huang Ling. 4 young men, 3 men and 1 woman, stood in a row in front of Huang Ling and Lu Ming. At this moment, the entire Darkwater city was alarmed. Countless people rose into the air and looked over. It's so terrifying. The 4 powerful cultivators are going to attack Lu Ming and Huang Ling. It's only a matter of time. The other geniuses are all looking for experts to form an alliance with. As for Lu Ming and Huang Ling, there's only 2 of them. Naturally, they'll be targeted. 4 against 2. Lu Ming and Feng Ling are most likely in danger. They can't keep the map and the key. The voices reverberated in the sky. Not far from the Phoenix Palace, Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were also watching. Lu Ming, aren't you all very arrogant? This time, let's see how you can keep the map key. Zhao Kuang coldly laughed. Lu Ming and Feng Ling better be killed. Sima Liang's face was filled with viciousness. Huang Ling, Lu Ming, hand over the map and key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King. A young man said directly. If you want the map and key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King, let's see if you have the ability. Huang Ling said coldly. Huang Ling, although your undying celestial phoenix body has strong vitality, you don't stand a chance against the 2 of us. Lu Ming, I know you killed young Master Blood Prison some time ago, but are you still a match for the 2 of us? I'm warning you, don't make a mistake. A young man said coldly. You can try to see if you're a match for him. Lu Ming spoke in a very domineering manner. You're so stubborn. Since that's the case, that a young man shouted as he stepped out and charged towards Feng Ling. At the same time, the only woman among the 4 of them also charged at Feng Ling. The remaining 2 people charged at Lu Ming. 2 against 1. The cry of a phoenix rang out, and a shadow of the undying phoenix rushed out of Huang Ling's body. A pair of phoenix wings extended from her back, and her whole body was bathed in the undying flames. The phoenix's wings flapped out, and like 2 divine swords, they slashed at the opponent, engaging in a great battle with the opponent. However, the moment they exchanged blows, Huang Ling was at a disadvantage. The 2 of them weren't any weaker than her, so she could only use her undying celestial phoenix body to hold on. As for Lu Ming, he had also engaged in a huge battle with the other party. A huge cauldron pressed down on Lu Ming, and at the same time, there was a terrifying flaming sword chi. The power of 2 terrifying heaven's favorites working together was too strong. Lu Ming's glabella glowed and Ming Lian stepped out. A Tai Chi formation disc floated above his head. A Tai Chi formation diagram appeared and pressed down on the young man who had slashed out the flaming sword aura. Boom! The flaming sword chi was dispersed. Ming Lian waved his hand and a phoenix's cry was heard. The phoenix feather flying sword flew out. This time, there was a total of 21 phoenix feather flying swords. They formed a sword array and turned into a terrifying sword light, attacking the other party. Back in the Windy Plains, Lu Ming had obtained more than a dozen phoenix feathers. During this period of time, they had all been refined into phoenix feather flying swords by his Ming Lian clone. A total of 21 phoenix feather flying swords formed a sword formation, and its power was extremely shocking. Divine Sun Sword. The other party held a flaming sword and slashed out sword chi like the sun towards the second body. Lu Ming's main body glowed with light as he cast the 10,000 soldiers art. Holy weapons appeared one after another. He held a spear in one hand and a sword in the other. They bombarded the cauldron and sent it flying. 9 cauldrons suppressing the heavens. Lu Ming's opponent was a young man in a black robe. He had long hair and a mysterious aura. 9 cauldrons were floating around him. Lu Ming could not help but think of the Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron. The Divine Nine-Dragon Cauldron also had 9 entities to suppress the dragon veins. The black-robed young man controlled the 9 cauldrons to press down on Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and cast the Divine Sword technique at his opponent. The black-robed youth's body trembled, and his attack slowed down. Lu Ming threw the spear and sword in his hands and controlled the other holy weapons to fight against the 9 cauldrons. Clang, clang. Without a doubt, The 9 cauldrons were all saint weapons. When the 9 cauldrons worked together, their power would be even more shocking. In the sky above the Phoenix Palace, the sound of metal clashing came out like the ringing of a bell. The other disciples of the Phoenix Palace could not interfere at all. Ordinary geniuses would be injured or even killed by the overflowing qi if they got close. Chaos! Lu Ming muttered. A chaos sky-turning stamp appeared in each of his palms and he threw it at the other party. The chaos sky-turning stamp was as big as a mountain. It pressed down as if it wanted to crush everything. The black-robed young man's pupils contracted rapidly. He summoned a few cauldrons and blasted them upwards. Boom, boom. With 2 muffled booms, the opponent's cauldron was sent flying, and the black-robed young man retreated. At this moment, a pagoda appeared above Lu Ming's head. The bubble was inside. Bubble, help this second body. Lu Ming said, and the pagoda flew towards the battlefield of the second body of inscription. Kill, die. Lu Ming roared and unleashed the divine sword technique. 2 more flipping sky seals appeared in his palms and pressed down on the other party. The other party roared, and his body emitted a strange light, causing the 9 cauldrons to shake. Many of Lu Ming's saint weapons were knocked away, and he then fought against the flipping sky seal. The battle between the two was purely a fierce battle of strength. There was no technique involved. The flipping sky seal and the 9 cauldrons kept colliding with each other like mountains. They kept bombarding each other in the air, shaking the entire Darkwater city. Many of the weaker cultivators were forced to retreat. The sound waves from the collision were too powerful. However, with the help of Lu Ming's divine sword technique, the young man in black was slowly losing to Lu Ming. He was being suppressed by Lu Ming and had to retreat after every collision. After more than 10 moves, the black-clothed youth had already retreated more than 10 miles. The 9 seals of the Gate of God. Lu Ming's hands suddenly formed a seal. 9 gates of sealing suddenly appeared in the air, emitting a brilliant light. Each of them was aimed at one of the cauldrons. Currently, Lu Ming had cultivated the 9 seals of the Gate of God to its peak. He could condense 9 sealing gates at once. The 9 gates were connected and the sealing power was greatly enhanced. His opponent's 9 cauldrons were sealed in an instant. They stopped in the air and could not move. Chapter 1633, 1633 Chapter 1633 Defeating Top 4 How could Lu Ming miss such an opportunity? He waved his hands and a huge chaos sky-turning seal was formed, suppressing the young man in black. The young man in black was shocked. He roared and his body burst into a shocking black light. He seemed to have turned into a large cauldron. He waved his hands and bombarded the chaos sky-turning seal. Boom! The young man in black's body was sent flying like a cannonball. He coughed up a mouthful of blood in the air, and many of the bone armor on his body broke like fried beans. 9 cauldrons combine into one. The young man in black roared and the black light on his body became even more intense. The auras of the 9 cauldrons sealed by the Gate of Sealing grew stronger and broke through the seal of the Gate of Sealing in one fell swoop. They flew towards the young man in black and then combined into one. What a tenacious life force! Lu Ming muttered. This young man's combat strength was very shocking. It was as if he had nurtured a huge cauldron in the depths of his body. The power of laws was also very terrifying. His combat strength was even stronger than young Master Blood Prison's. Lu Ming was notorious for killing young Master of Blood Prison and injuring the assassins of Thousand Kills Mansion. Therefore, among the 4 people who came to deal with Lu Ming, he was undoubtedly the most powerful. The young man in black combined the 9 cauldrons into one and rushed into it. The aura of the cauldron became even more violent as it charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming grabbed the black dragon spear at the side and thrust it forward. Clang! The black dragon spear struck the cauldron and bent. Lu Ming was sent flying backward by a powerful and terrifying force. What powerful strength! Lu Ming's gaze was somewhat solemn. The other party's physique was obviously special. When combined with the cauldron, his entire person seemed to be a cauldron, and the 9 cauldrons seemed to be the fusion of 9 saint weapons. The power was amazing. Now that the black-clothed young man had merged with the cauldron, He was practically invincible. Lu Ming let go of the black dragon spear and allowed the 12 holy weapons to float around him as a form of defense. Lu Ming's essential core surged into the flowing essence gloves. At the same time, his third blood meridian emerged and a surge of energy surged into Lu Ming's body. Although the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had warned Lu Ming not to use his third bloodline as much as possible, it should be fine for him to use it once in a while and borrow a small amount of power. The influx of the third bloodline's energy made Lu Ming even more powerful. Dragon roars burst out from his body as he unleashed the prison-suppressing heavenly art and threw a punch. Clang! The fist landed on the cauldron, causing a terrifying shockwave. The sound waves spread out at a speed visible to the naked eye. Buzz! The cauldron trembled and was sent flying by Lu Ming, but Lu Ming's body also retreated. Again! Lu Ming stepped forward and threw another punch. The cauldron shook and continued to crash toward Lu Ming. Clang! 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 Then, the two of them continued to collide and exchanged dozens of blows. At this moment, the inscription clone and the bubbles worked together to suppress the opponent. The second body was refined with the Tai Chi formation disc as the main, turning into the yin-yang fish sword, which had amazing destructive power. At the same time, the various arrays and phoenix feather flying swords were also extremely profound. With the help of the bubble space-time domain, although the opponent was strong, he was restrained in the battle and completely suppressed by the Minglian clone. The yin-yang fish sword slashed out, almost cutting the other party into two, leaving a deep wound that was bleeding. That Lu Ming, how can he have such strong combat abilities? You should die. Zhao Kuang, who was watching the battle from afar, let out a low roar. Even Xia Ding was unable to do anything to him. Sima Liang also said in disbelief. Xia Ding was the black-robed young man who controlled the 9 cauldrons. Lu Ming's combat strength was beyond his imagination. One person could actually split into 2, and each of them had terrifying combat strength. At their level, Xia Ding was an extremely terrifying heaven's favorite. None of them were his match. However, Lu Ming alone was able to fight him, and the other Lu Ming was able to completely suppress him. Fortunately, Huang Ling is about to be defeated. As long as Huang Ling is defeated, the two of them will join forces to fight Lu Ming. No matter how strong he is, he will still be defeated. Sima Liang continued. At this moment, Huang Ling was indeed in danger. Her entire body seemed to have turned into a blazing phoenix. Flames filled the sky as she unleashed her strength to the extreme. However, she was no match for 2 powerful enemies of the same level. She was injured in many places. If it wasn't for her undying celestial phoenix body, she would have been seriously injured long ago. Even so, if this continued, she would only be defeated. I have the undying celestial phoenix body, the undying celestial phoenix. I'm one of the top 10 battle beasts. How can I lose? The phoenix spirit let out a long cry like a phoenix. Her eyes were filled with madness, and the flames on her body became even more terrifying as she fought with her opponent. Bang! Her body had been pierced through, leaving a huge hole in it. However, she didn't care about it. The undying flames spread out, and the huge hole automatically healed. She killed madly, not caring about her own injuries, not caring about defense, only focusing on attacking. At this moment, Ming Lian's second body followed up with another attack. Together with the bubbles, they unleashed a terrifying technique. His chest was pierced by the yin-yang fish sword, and the terrifying destructive power kept destroying his spirit body, causing him to cough up blood. Quickly come and help me. The man roared. Hold on a little longer. One of the prodigies who was fighting against the phoenix spirit said. They wanted to defeat the phoenix spirit in one fell swoop and then deal with Lu Ming. However, the phoenix spirit undying heavenly phoenix body wasn't just for show. The other party couldn't take down Bai Lin at all. Damn it. The heavens' favorites who were heavily injured didn't dare to continue fighting and retreated. The 4 of them came from different forces. They decided to work together to fight for the map and key of the tomb of the Samsara king. But now, his life was in danger. How could he fight to the death? Buzz. He took a few steps back and left. Damn it. The others roared. Kill. Ming Lian's second body rushed toward Huang Ling's battlefield, and the yin-yang fish sword slashed at one of the beautiful women. Huang Ling's pressure was greatly reduced. She launched a violent attack on one of them and was actually at a disadvantage. At this moment, Lu Ming's main body had already exchanged dozens of blows with Xia Ding. Clang! Another earth-shattering boom rang out as the cauldron trembled violently and retreated. Xia Ding's figure then fell out from within. He had to pay a huge price to use this move. Now, he could not hold on any longer. Let's forget about it this time, let's go. Xia Ding roared as he took the cauldron and retreated, disappearing in the blink of an eye. When the remaining two saw this, they knew that they had lost the battle. They charged forward with all their might. After paying a price, they also charged out and disappeared. The four powerful cultivators were defeated by Lu Ming and Huang Ling. The surrounding spectators gasped in shock. Chapter 1634, 1634 Chapter 1634 Taodai Lu Ming and Huang Ling could defeat four supreme talents. Such combat strength was already extremely terrifying. As for Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang, they were even more dumbfounded. Xia Ding's group of four had come with a menacing aura, but in the end, they were defeated by Lu Ming and his junior brother and retreated in a sorry state. This was something that they had never dreamed of. They both had low-tier heaven spiritual bodies, so how could there be such a huge difference in combat strength? Not good. At this moment, Lu Ming's expression changed. Boom! In the sky, a huge claw grabbed towards Feng Ling. The claw was covered in scales. It was extremely ferocious and emitted terrifying fluctuations. Ming Lian's second body was the closest to Huang Ling. He immediately controlled the Tai Chi disc array and the two yin-yang fish swords slashed at the huge claw. Buzz! Buzz! The yin-yang fish sword hit the claw, and sparks flew. Then it was sent flying. Within the pagoda, bubbles made a move. The void rippled, forming a terrifying spatial blade that slashed towards the claw. As for Huang Ling, she made her move as well. Flames filled the sky as a flaming phoenix flew out towards the claw. Boom! Boom! The space blade shattered, and the flaming phoenix was destroyed. Huang Ling's figure was pushed back, and blood flowed out of her mouth. Primal Chaos Sky-Turning Seal. At this time, Lu Ming's main body also made a move. He condensed a huge Chaos Sky-Turning stamp and blasted it at the huge claw. Boom! The Chaos Sky-Turning seal struck the claw and was immediately shattered. However, the claw was finally blocked. It rapidly shrank and was retracted from the sky. So strong. Lu Ming's eyes were extremely solemn. Someone else has made a move. Who is it? Lu Ming and Huang Ling just had a huge battle and he's making a move now? The hearts of many people in the surroundings trembled as they looked up into the sky. With a loud roar, the wind and clouds changed, and a huge creature slowly appeared in the sky. Many people's pupils contracted. Taoai! Lu Ming slowly spat out two words. The huge creature that appeared in the sky was a Taotai. The Tai was also a type of divine beast that was incomparably powerful. It was said that in ancient times, the Taotai could swallow the sun and moon in the sky when it opened its mouth. It was truly terrifying. The Taotai's eyes were like two small suns as it stared at Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Its cold and harsh voice rang out, "Hand over the map and key of the tomb of the Reincarnation King, and I will spare your lives." Obviously, Taotai's goal was the same as Xia Ding and the others. He wanted the map and key of the tomb of the Reincarnation King. Does the Taotai tribe only know how to take advantage of the situation? Huang Ling said coldly, "Nonsense, if you don't hand it over, you'll die." The Taotai spoke coldly as it stepped into the air, causing the sky to rumble. On Huang Ling's body, the immortal fire burned fiercely. She stared at Taotai with a determined expression. Her meaning was self-evident. Lu Ming's main body and secondary body stood together and stared at the Tao. "Kill!" The Taotai roared and leaped towards Lu Ming and Huang Ling. It clawed at them and a terrifying howl rang out between heaven and earth as it clawed at them. Above Ming Lian's head, the Tai Chi formation disc glowed with a brilliant light. A Tai Chi diagram pressed down on Taotai. Bang! The Tao Tai's claw landed on the Tai Chi pattern, and the Tai Chi pattern was sent flying. Lu Ming cast the 10,000 soldiers art and thrust the black dragon spear at the Tao Tai's vital point. However, the Tao Tai's other claw struck out and slapped on the long spear. Lu Ming felt an extremely powerful force surging towards him, and his body was directly blown away. His chi and blood churned and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What terrifying strength! Lu Ming was shocked. He stabbed the Tao Tai's claw with his spear, but only left a shallow mark. It didn't even pierce through the scales. This Tao Tai was definitely at the same level as the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Its body was equivalent to a low-tier celestial spiritual body, and its cultivation had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, which was the realm where the laws could be infused into its body. The body of a divine beast with a heaven spiritual body was already extremely terrifying. In addition, the laws had infused into it, making the body even stronger. Even Lu Ming's 10,000 soldiers scroll could not break it. The cry of a phoenix was heard. The phoenix spirit made a move, but it was useless. She was sent flying by the Tao Tai's palm. The 9 seals of the gate of God. Lu Ming growled and quickly formed a seal with both hands. 9 gates of sealing were formed and pressed down on the Tao Tai, trying to seal it. At the same time, Bubbles made a move and cast the space-time domain to seal the Tao Tai. Buzz. The Tai Chi disc array above his head shook again, and the Tai Chi yin-yang fish pattern appeared again. But this time, it turned into the yin-yang fish sword. 2 terrifying sword lights, one black and one white, slashed toward the Tao Tai. The Tao Tai let out a heaven-shaking roar. Its body glowed, and its 2 claws struck out continuously, hitting the door of seal. Bang, bang, bang. The 9 gates of sealing shook violently before shattering one by one. Then, 2 terrifying light beams shot out from the Tao Tai's eyes and broke free from the Bubble's space-time domain. However, the Tai Chi yin-yang fish sword had already arrived. Buzz, buzz. The yin-yang fish sword slashed at the Tao Tai's body, causing sparks to fly everywhere and making an ear-piercing sound. However, in the end, it cut through the Tao Tai's scales and left 2 deep sword marks on it, causing blood to flow out. Boom. Above the Tao Tai's head, a huge chaos sky-turning stamp appeared and pressed down on the Tao. Ah, die, all of you go to hell. The Tao Tai was injured by the yin-yang fish sword and was completely enraged. Laws surrounded its body and it rushed out, bombarding the chaos sky-turning seal. Boom. The chaos heaven-turning stamp gave off a terrible vibration, then cracked and finally shattered. With a screech, Huang Ling attacked. A combat sword condensed from the undying flame slashed at Tao Tai's wound. It immediately burned and emitted the fragrance of roasted meat. The unperishable flame could keep one alive when used on oneself, but it could kill others when used on them. Damn it, kill! The Tao Tai roared in anger and opened its mouth. Instantly, a terrifying devouring force burst out and enveloped Lu Ming's body and the phoenix spirit, wanting to swallow them and refine them. Devouring power, I also know it. Lu Ming growled and clenched his fist. The devouring power burst out and immediately offset the other party's devouring power. The devouring power of the 9 dragons. The Tao Tai roared. However, although Lu Ming had cancelled out the devouring power and stopped the main body and the secondary body, the phoenix spirit could not cancel out the devouring power and flew directly into the Tao Tai's mouth. In the blink of an eye, it was approaching Tao. Die! The Tao Tai growled and spat out a beam of light, which enveloped Huang Ling. The phoenix spirit let out a long cry and continued to attack. She wanted to rush out of the light beam, but she could not do so. The light beam contained a terrifying destructive and refining power, which was constantly refining the phoenix spirit. Buzz! Buzz! Lu Ming's main body and the second body moved at the same time. They charged towards the Tao Tai in an attempt to save Huang Ling. However, 2 terrifying beams of light shot out from the Tao Tai's eyes, forcing Lu Ming's main body and his secondary body to retreat at the same time. Chapter 1635. 1635 Phoenix Spirit's breakthrough. This Tao Tai was too powerful and it chose the right time to attack. It chose to attack when Lu Ming and Huang Ling were exhausted after a huge battle with Xia Ding and the other 4 experts. At this moment, Lu Ming and Huang Ling were no longer at their peak. Put it out, Huang Ling. Even if you have the unperishable flame, it'll put it out and refine you. The Taotai's voice rang out, and the light beam from its mouth became even stronger. Within the beam of light, the cry of a phoenix could be heard as the unperishable flame of the phoenix spirit was being refined. Chaos! Lu Ming roared and exerted all his strength. A huge chaos sky-turning seal was formed and pressed toward the Tao. At the same time, his second body also controlled the Tai Chi disc array with all its might. 2 more yin-yang fish swords appeared and slashed toward the Taotai. 2 beams of light shot out from the Taotai's eyes again, bombarding the yin-yang fish sword and blocking it. However, he couldn't block the primal chaos sky-turning stamp, and it smashed heavily on the Taotai's body. The Taotai gave a muffled groan as its body trembled. It actually managed to resist the chaos sky-turning seal. However, it was obvious that the Taotai was not in a good state either. A part of its back had caved in, and that part of its spine had been broken by the chaos sky-turning seal. 2 streams of blood gushed out of the 2 wounds caused by the yin-yang fish sword. Damn it! You should die, brat. When I refine the phoenix spirit, it will be the day of your death. The Taotai let out an angry roar. Today, he had been injured by Lu Ming time and time again. Although it was not a fatal injury, it was a great insult to him. He was a dignified existence at the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm. Yet, he had been injured by Lu Ming time and time again. He could not be forgiven. This Taotai's physical body is really abnormal. Lu Ming felt a little helpless. If an expert at the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm were to be hit by Lu Ming's chaos sky-turning seal, he would probably be crushed to death. However, Taotai only suffered minor injuries. At this moment, Huang Ling's unperishable flame was getting weaker and weaker, as if it was going to be refined at any time. What do we do? Lu Ming's brows furrowed deeply. After a series of battles, the vital essence in his body was almost depleted. It was difficult for him to use the chaos sky-turning seal again with all his strength. Even if he did, the chaos sky-turning seal might not be useful. Lu Ming started to feel anxious. His cultivation was still too low. He was only at the 9th level of the martial royal realm. If his cultivation could reach the 1st stage of the half-saint realm and comprehend the ultimate chaotic domain, his power would definitely increase dramatically. At that time, he could at least severely injure the Taotai with the chaos sky-turning stamp. However, his current cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th level martial royal realm. It was impossible for him to rush to the half-saint realm. It was a huge barrier between the 9th level martial royal realm and the half-saint realm. It was not easy to break through. Lu Ming and Huang Ling are finally going to be defeated and killed by the Taotai. Not far away, Zhao Kuang laughed maniacally. He was overjoyed to see that Lu Ming and Huang Ling were about to be defeated. They can't be Taotai's match. The outcome is already decided. Sima Liang also said coldly. Around him, the others also shook their heads and sighed. The Taotai was a heaven's favorite on the same level as the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Among the heaven's favorites who entered the 100-clan battlefield, people at this level stood at the very top. It was impossible for Huang Ling and Lu Ming to stand a chance. Moreover, they had just fought a great battle. It was even more impossible for them to be a match for the Taotai. Buzz! At this moment, the cry of a phoenix resounded through the world. Huang Ling, who was already extremely weak, suddenly became more powerful and the unperishable flames started to burn. Huang Ling had almost transformed into an undying phoenix. She spread her wings and flew high, breaking out of the Taotai's light beam. Her wings were like blades as she slashed at the Tao. The Taotai roared and struck out with its claws. Boom! Boom! With 2 loud bangs, Phoenix Spirit and Taotai retreated. You've broken through the nomological tank. The Taotai roared. Kill! The Phoenix Spirit roared as she spread her wings and charged towards Tao. I'd like to see how powerful the law of unperishable flame is. The Taotai roared and charged towards Huang Ling. Boom! Boom! In the sky, It was as if a phoenix and a taotai were fighting fiercely. For a moment, it was difficult to determine the winner. He actually broke through. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. At the critical moment of life and death, Huang Ling had broken through her limit and reached the third stage of half-saint, the stage where laws could be infused into her body. After reaching the third stage, the phoenix spirit's combat strength had increased greatly. She was now on the same level as the taotai and was not afraid of him. As expected of the undying heavenly phoenix body, one of the top 10 battle beasts, Lu Ming sighed. He realized that the phoenix spirit had the same characteristics as him. In times of danger, it was easier to stimulate one's potential and break through one's limits to achieve a leap. Damn it, how did this happen? Detestable! Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang had been very happy just a moment ago, but now their faces were extremely gloomy. The battle between the phoenix spirit and the taotai was extremely intense. Lu Ming did not interfere. In the blink of an eye, the two sides had exchanged hundreds of moves, and there was still no clear winner. Huang Ling, I'll spare you today. Well, fight another day. In the end, taotai turned around and left after leaving behind some harsh words. He knew that now that Huang Ling had broken through, it was impossible for him to snatch Huang Ling's and Lu Ming's map key. He could only retreat. Huang Ling didn't pursue him. She wasn't confident that she could keep taotai here. If they continued to fight, both sides would suffer and someone else would benefit from it. The unperishable flame was extinguished and the phoenix spirit returned to its original form. You guys get lost. Huang Ling's gaze swept the surroundings, especially towards Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's expressions changed as they turned to leave. The others did the same. They turned and left. Now that Huang Ling had broken through and entered the third stage of the half-saint realm, it would not be too difficult for her to kill ordinary geniuses. In the blink of an eye, the surrounding spectators had all dispersed. Congratulations on your breakthrough, Emperor Spirit. Lu Ming walked towards Huang Ling and smiled. Huang Ling's breakthrough had made him feel much more relaxed. With Huang Ling's breakthrough and his performance today, he believed that no one would dare to target them in the future. Lu Ming, I have to thank you. If you hadn't restrained the Tai, I might not have had the chance to break through. Said Huang Ling previously, Lu Ming had continuously attacked the taotai and injured it. This had distracted the taotai more or less. Otherwise, it would have refined her before she could break through. If one wanted to stimulate one's potential and break through one's limits in a crisis, they would often be accompanied by danger. A single mistake could lead to death. Then, she ordered the people of the Phoenix Palace to clean up the palace. After all, the battle just now had made the Phoenix Palace a mess. Lu Ming and Huang Ling returned to their respective rooms. Huang Ling had just made a breakthrough and needed to consolidate her cultivation. As for Lu Ming, he needed to recover. After this battle, Lu Ming and Huang Ling's reputation had spread far and wide. Indeed, no one had any designs on them after that. However, the battle in Darkwater City was even more intense. There would often be great battles. Chapter 1636, 1636 The Undying Mountain in the Darkwater City. All the supreme talents formed alliances with each other and formed forces with the key of the tomb of the Samsara King as the center. After more than 10 days, the situation slowly stabilized. At this moment, the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow sent a message to Lu Ming and Huang Ling, telling them that the key and map of the tomb of the Samsara King were ready. He invited them to meet at the Golden Crow Palace, merge with the map, and head to the tomb of the Samsara King. Is everyone finally here? Lu Ming ended his cultivation and a sharp glint flashed in his eyes. Together with Huang Ling, they flew towards the Golden Crow Palace. Those who have the key and map of the tomb of the Samsara King are all gathered at the Golden Crow Palace. Let's go and take a look. In Darkwater City, many people flew towards the Golden Crow Palace. Very quickly, Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived at the Golden Crow Palace. This time, they did not meet at the square. As soon as Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived, the members of the Golden Crow race welcomed them to a courtyard inside the Golden Crow Palace. Those heaven's favorites without a map or key could only wait outside the Golden Crow Palace. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived, they realized that many people had already arrived. Yi Dongfang was standing alone with his hands behind his back. There was also a young man in a yellow robe. He had taken the map and the key from another man. He was also a heaven's favorite on the same level as Yi Dongfang, the 10th Golden Crow Prince. In addition, there were a few other people with unfathomable auras. They were also heaven's favorites on the same level as the Golden Crow's 10th Prince. He didn't see them last time, so they were obviously from the other cities. In addition, there were a few groups with more people. The smallest group had 4 or 5 people together, while the largest group had 7 or 8 people. Lu Ming even saw Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang among the group of people. These people were all at the same level as young Master Blood Prison, so they formed an alliance of 4 to 5 people. They controlled the key and map of King Samsara's tomb together. Following that, a few more groups of people arrived. Each group had more than 4 to 5 people. There were 7 people in one group and Lu Ming recognized a few of them. They were none other than Xia Ding and the other 3 who had tried to snatch Lu Ming and Huang Ling away. Xia Ding and the other 3 looked at Lu Ming and Huang Ling with fear in their eyes. There were 6 people in the other group as well. One of them was wearing black scaled armor. He glared at Lu Ming coldly, his killing intent flashing continuously. Taoai. Lu Ming could tell from the aura that the young man in the scaled armor was the Tao. It seemed that Tao Tai had found a group of people to cooperate with and was going to enter the tomb of the Samsara king together. Alright, the 10 sets of keys and maps are all here. But before I gather the maps, I have to make one point clear. Whoever has the map and the keys can bring anyone with them, but we have to decide on the candidates now. We can't add any more people when we set off later. Brother Yi, Brother Shi, Holy Phoenix Spirit, do you have any objections? The Golden Crow 10th Crown Prince said. However, his eyes were on Yi Dongfang, Huang Ling, the yellow-robed youth, the Tao Tai, and other beings of the same level as him. Let's do this. I have no objections. Yi Dongfang, the yellow-robed young man, and the others all nodded. The others didn't say anything. The people they were supposed to set off with had all arrived. This group of people were the top heaven's favorites. Every one of them had a heaven spiritual body. As for those with earth spiritual bodies, they would not be of much use. Even if one's earth spiritual body had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, they would not be a match for anyone here. Alright, in that case, take out the map now. The Golden Crow 10th Crown Prince said. He first took out 2 jade talismans and inserted his true yuan. The jade talismans lit up and 2 maps appeared in the air. Following that, the others took out their jade talismans and channeled their essential core into them. Lu Ming did the same. Map after map appeared in the air and pieced together. A total of 10 regions were pieced together to form a complete map. At this moment, the map emitted a bright light. On the map, a bright spot of light appeared. That's where the tomb of the Reincarnation King is. Many people's eyes lit up as they quickly memorized the map. This is the north of the 100-tribe battlefield, where Mount Immortal is. Yi Dongfang said. I didn't expect it to be there. Let's go. The Golden Crow 10th Prince said. Then, they put away their jade talismans and rose into the air, flying north. They must know the location of the tomb of the Reincarnation King. There were many people waiting outside the Golden Crow Palace. When they saw Lu Ming and the group coming out, there was a commotion. Let's go and follow them. Maybe we can enter the tomb of the Reincarnation King and get some good fortune. Yes, follow them. A large group of people rose into the air and followed behind Lu Ming and the group. Those who don't have the key and map of the tomb of the Reincarnation King get lost or die. The eyes of the 10th Golden Crow Prince shone with a golden light as he scanned the surroundings. At the same time, Yi Dongfang, Tao Tai, and the others also looked around with unfriendly eyes. You guys are too overbearing. We are free to go wherever we want to go. Do you want to interfere with where we go? Right, you guys go your way, we'll go our way. We'll have nothing to do with each other. Someone among those people shouted. Stubborn. The 10th Golden Crow Prince suddenly let out a loud cry. His body was covered in terrifying solar fire as he turned into a golden light and rushed out. The Golden Crow 10th Prince's hand transformed into the Golden Crow's claws, and the sky was filled with claw shadows. No one could withstand a single strike. As long as they were caught by the claw shadows, they would be enveloped by golden flames and turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen young men were killed, both in body and soul. The others were all shocked and quickly backed away. They looked at the 10th Golden Crow Prince with fear in their eyes. "If you continue to follow, kill without mercy," the 10th Golden Crow Prince said coldly. This time, no one dared to follow them. Although there were many of them, their combat strength was far inferior to the 10th Golden Crow Prince's. Once they made a move, they would only be slaughtered. Moreover, there were still many more experts who had yet to make a move. Once they did, they would really be slaughtered. Although they were unwilling, they could only watch helplessly as Lu Ming and the rest left. Who asked them to be weak? In the world of martial Tao, the strong preyed on the weak. Without strength, opportunities were placed in front of them, and they were powerless to take them. Lu Ming and the group headed north. Following the instructions on the map, they flew for 2 days and arrived at a land of dead silence. This was a wasteland, and as far as the eye could see, the wasteland was covered with white bones. However, these white bones had been eroded by the wind and had no spirituality. The entire wasteland was filled with a faint aura of death. It was obvious that this place had been a battlefield in the past. In front of the wasteland, there was a majestic mountain. It was particularly eye-catching in the flat wasteland. According to the map, the target was that mountain. Chapter 1637 Chapter 1637 Emergence of the Emperor's Tomb Buzz and NBSP Whoosh. They flew towards the mountain. Whoosh. All of a sudden, a blade light cut through the void and slashed at one of the elites. Boom. The heaven's favorite struck out with his palm and destroyed the saber light. However, the next moment, the ground of the dead silent wasteland burst open, and figures rushed out from the ground and stood in front of them. These figures were of all sorts. Some were in the form of demonic beasts, while others were in the form of humans. Some of them were wearing armor and holding swords and sabers, but they had one thing in common, which was that their bodies were filled with a strong aura of death. "It's the undead," someone said. Kill these humans." An undead, who was wearing armor and holding a sword, waved his sword like a dark warrior and gave orders. Kill. A large number of undead rushed towards Lu Ming and the rest. There were at least 1,000 of them, and they were all at the 7th level Martial Emperor realm or above. All sorts of attacks were launched at Lu Ming and the rest. Kill. The 10th Golden Crow Prince transformed into a 3-legged golden crow. The fire of the sun burned fiercely. As he rushed past, a dozen undead were turned into ashes in the flames. Wild Thunder Yi Dongfang clenched his fist in the air, and the sky was filled with lightning. Every lightning bolt that swept across would kill an undead. The Taotai returned to its original form and roared. A beam of destructive light shot out of its mouth, and a large number of undead were destroyed. When such a paragon attacked, it was earth-shattering and shocking. Large numbers of undead were annihilated. At the same time, the others attacked one after another. All kinds of attacks were launched, killing the undead one by one. However, there were too many undead, and they kept rushing out from the ground. Moreover, he was getting stronger and stronger. A giant white bone took the shape of a tiger. With a loud roar, the space trembled as it pounced towards the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The white bone tiger exuded the aura of the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm. It was extremely powerful. However, he was still defeated by the 10th Golden Crow Prince in one move. In a battle of the same level, a heavenly spiritual body could easily kill other non-heavenly spiritual bodies in seconds. Undead kept rushing out from the ground. Many of them were at the half-saint level, but they still couldn't stop them. They kept pushing toward the majestic mountain. Lu Ming punched out continuously. The force of his fist crossed the void and killed 2 undead at the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm. Boom. Right at this moment, an extremely terrifying aura burst forth from the ground. A figure wearing ancient battle armor and holding a long spear appeared in the sky. Saint Realm undead. Many people's expressions changed. This undead wearing ancient armor and holding a spear was a Saint Realm undead, and terrifying saintly might emanated from his body. So what if you're a saint? You'll still be beheaded. The 10th Golden Crow Prince spoke in an extremely domineering manner. With their combat strength, they were not afraid of ordinary Saint Realm cultivators. However, the Saint Undead did not attack. Instead, he glanced at Lu Ming and the others coldly and said in a shriveled voice, "Retreat." Then, the undead that had been attacking crazily retreated like a tide. They sank into the ground and disappeared. His Saint Undead also sank into the ground and disappeared. He retreated? Someone was stunned. A Saint Realm expert will only be killed if he doesn't retreat. Naturally, he has to retreat. The 10th Golden Crow Prince spoke with great confidence. The group continued forward. Following that, there were no accidents and no one stopped them. They arrived in front of the mountain. The mountain was pitch black and surrounded by a deathly aura. Not a blade of grass grew on it. Is this the tomb of the Reincarnation King? I've been here before, but I didn't find anything unusual. Yi Dongfang frowned. This mountain looked like an ordinary mountain. There was nothing unusual about it, and there was no entrance. After that, they flew around the mountain but did not find any entrance. Everyone frowned. Was the tomb of the Reincarnation King fake? Let's take a look at the key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King. What do you think? Someone suggested. All right. The others nodded and took out the key to the tomb of the Reincarnation King. Buzz. When everyone took out their keys, a shocking scene appeared. The 10 keys trembled and emitted a brilliant radiance. They left everyone's hands and continued to fly towards the mountain. Then they floated on the top of the mountain and rapidly grew in size. Each of them was 100,000 feet in size. Then, the 10 keys actually fused together and turned into a heaven-raising halberd. Boom. The mighty heaven battle halberd was swung down at the mountain. Boom, boom, boom. As the halberd struck down, the towering mountain split into two, revealing a deep valley in the middle, like a passage. The halberd flew into the depths of the canyon and disappeared. Is this the passage to the tomb of the Reincarnation King? Some people's eyes lit up. It must be. Ha, the tomb of the Reincarnation King has finally appeared. Some people laughed. However, the next moment, the scene suddenly became silent. Everyone's figures flashed, and they pulled away from the others, revealing a guarded look. Now that the tomb of the Reincarnation King had appeared, they would become competitors. Naturally, they had to be wary of each other. Hee hee. The Golden Crow 10th Prince laughed coldly and took to the air, flying toward the valley. Let's go. The others quickly flew toward the canyon. However, when they reached the canyon, their eyes narrowed. The towering mountain was split in half. Logically speaking, the opposite side of the canyon was also the other side of the mountain. However, in reality, it was not. In the depths of the canyon, there was a passageway that directly passed through space and led to an unknown place. Everyone came to the entrance of the tunnel, and the 10th Golden Crow Prince was still the first to step in. When he stepped in, his expression changed slightly, but he continued walking forward. The others also entered the tunnel. What a heavy pressure. There's a no-fly zone here, so it's hard to fly. As soon as they entered the passage, someone said solemnly. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also stepped into the passage. Instantly, they felt a strong pressure on their bodies. This pressure was as heavy as a mountain. It was impossible to fly here, and one could only move forward step by step. Everyone was on guard against each other as they walked forward step by step. It was as if they had stepped into a spatial passageway, and their surroundings were a vast expanse of white. They had no idea where they were. They walked forward step by step. However, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours had passed, and they were still in the passage. Looking ahead, the passage seemed to have no end. How can it be so long? When will we reach the end? Is there really the tomb of the Reincarnation King ahead? No matter what, I'm going to walk to the end. The group continued to move forward. Chapter 1638, 1638 The Endless Tombs. Time slowly passed. 1 hour after another. They had walked for a full day, but they were still in the passage. It was as if the passage really had no end. But at this point, no one would give up. Everyone continued to move forward. Very quickly, 10 days had passed, and they were still moving forward in the passageway. At this time, many people frowned. No matter how patient they were, they couldn't help but feel a little anxious. Was this passage really leading to the tomb of the Reincarnation King? However, since they had already come this far, it was impossible for them to retreat. They could only continue forward. Soon, another 5 days passed. I can see the end. Suddenly, someone shouted in excitement. In front of them, the passage was finally about to end. From a distance, it seemed to be a land of darkness. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They had walked for half a month in a passageway with nothing. The key was that they had no idea how long they had to walk. This was a test of their patience. Fortunately, they were all peerless geniuses who had dared to come to the 100-clan battlefield to temper themselves. They were outstanding in all aspects, and they naturally didn't lack patience. That was why they had been able to persevere until now. Let's go! Immediately, everyone's spirits were lifted. They began to speed up and rush forward, afraid that if they were one step slower than others, the opportunity would be taken by others. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also sped up. Very soon, they rushed out of the passage and stepped into a land of darkness. As soon as they rushed out of the tunnel, they felt their bodies lighten. The pressure disappeared, and they regained their ability to fly. However, after everyone rushed out of the tunnel, they all stood in the air and looked ahead in shock. The grave. What entered their eyes were all tombs. They were densely packed, and they didn't know how many there were. At a glance, it was boundless. These tombs were of different sizes. Some of them were just mounds, while others were as large as mountains. How could this be? Why are there so many tombs here? Isn't it the tomb of the Reincarnation King? Someone asked doubtfully. There were so many tombs. Could it be that the tomb of the Reincarnation King was among them and he had to search for it one by one? These tombs might also bury important figures and have treasures. Someone murmured, causing everyone's eyes to light up. That's right, those who could be buried here probably didn't have small origins. There might be treasures here. Then, with so many here, wouldn't he be rich? Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. Instantly they moved. One figure after another scuttled out and rushed toward the tombs. They were searching for their target. Each of them found a tomb and rushed over. Be careful! Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Huang Ling. He had a feeling that things were not as simple as they seemed. The two of them carefully moved forward and flew into the area of the grave. However, just as they were approaching the graves closest to them began to glow. Then figures emerged from the graves. Kill! Kill! There were men and women, young and old among these figures. Many of them were not even human, but they all roared and charged at Lu Ming and the others. The terrifying power was shocking. One of the heaven's favorites was not careful and was pierced by the spear. If he did not retreat quickly, he would have died. A terrifying sword light shot towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw a punch and it collided with the sword light. With a clang, the sword light was sent flying, and Lu Ming felt his fist go numb. What a terrifying attack! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Kill, kill, kill! The figure that emerged from the grave roared continuously and charged towards them. These figures were not corporeal and looked like phantoms. The Golden Crow 10th Prince was attacked by a giant bull. He transformed into his true form and fought with the giant bull. His battle power was shocking, and he tore the giant bull into pieces in one move. But the shocking thing was that the giant bull didn't die. It reformed and attacked the Golden Crow 10th Prince. The others were in the same situation. Even if they destroyed the phantoms, they would reform. The one who attacked Lu Ming was an illusory human figure that looked like an old man. The sword light that was constantly released was extremely mysterious and enveloped Lu Ming's entire body. Lu Ming cast the 10,000 soldiers art. He held the black dragon spear and thrust out Cui Zhang's spear radiance, which collided with the sword radiance. After exchanging dozens of blows, Lu Ming's spear shattered the figure. However, the figure immediately condensed again. These are formed from the immortal fighting spirit of the experts after their death. They are undying. There must be peerless experts buried under these tombs. Someone said. "I'll break it and see." Zhao Kuang let out a furious roar and forced the figure that was attacking him to retreat. He then attacked a large tomb at the side. Boom. The terrifying attack landed on the tomb, but the tomb didn't move at all. It wasn't damaged at all. However, at this moment, a shocking scene appeared. Beams of light shot out from the tomb and directly wrapped around Zhao Kuang. Zhao Kuang struggled madly, but it was useless. Then, with a bang, one of his arms exploded. Help me, Zhao Kuang cried out in fear. However, before he could finish his sentence, his entire body exploded with a bang. Blood splattered on the large tomb, and his body and soul were destroyed. The crowd gasped. A powerful heaven's favorite had died just like that because he had attacked the tomb. These tombs all have terrifying nomological powers. As long as you attack the tombs, you will be attacked by the nomological powers. Yi Dongfang said with a serious face. That's right. The laws of this tomb are invincible. Once you're entangled, you'll die. Someone else said. Many people felt a lingering fear. It was a good thing that Zhao Kuang had attacked the tomb first, otherwise, they would have been the ones to die. This was especially true for Sima Liang. He had been with Zhao Kuang the entire time and had almost attacked just now. However, Zhao Kuang had been a step faster than him. When he saw the abnormality in the tomb, he had stopped his attack and avoided the disaster. It seemed like they couldn't attack this tomb at all. If they did, they would die. Perhaps only the tomb of the reincarnation emperor could be opened? Everyone thought to themselves. Then, they began to search for the tomb of the reincarnation emperor while fending off the attacks of the shadows. However, they couldn't find the tomb of the reincarnation king after searching for a long time. And if this continued, it would be very disadvantageous for them, as their true chi would be completely consumed. There is a path ahead. Keep going forward. Maybe the tomb of the reincarnation king is right in front of that path. Jiang Chen said. Someone said. Many people nodded. They had all seen that path. However, on both sides of the road, there were two particularly huge tombs, far above the other tombs. This made many people pay attention and not rashly go up. If you guys don't go, I'll go. The Taotai opened its mouth and rushed towards the path. Buzz. Buzz. The two particularly large tombs lit up, and two figures appeared. A true dragon and a phoenix emitted a terrifying aura. Moreover, these two figures were much more solid than the other illusory figures. Chapter 1639, 1639 The Netherworld, helplessly Meng roar. The shadow of the true dragon roared and pounced at the Tao. Its huge dragon claw smashed down at the Taotai. The Taotai roared and transformed into its true form. It also struck out with its claw. However, the result was that the Taotai's body shook violently and was directly sent flying by the true dragon's illusory figure. It retreated a dozen steps and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Taotai was injured by the true dragon's shadow in one move. It was shocking. The Taotai's combat strength was definitely at the peak among them. If it used its full power, it could definitely fight against a Saint Realm expert. However, it was no match for him and was injured in one move. Buzz. The phoenix screeched and pounced towards the Taotai, scaring the Taotai into retreating, not daring to fight. The true dragon and phoenix shadows flew above their respective tombs, but they didn't pursue. It's so powerful. How can it pass? He's definitely stronger than an ordinary Saint Realm expert. He's no match for him alone. Many people's faces turned ugly. He had gone through so much to reach this point, but was he going to stop here? Everyone, the only way to pass through this path is to join forces. Let's join forces and charge through together. Otherwise, no one will be able to pass through alone. Huang Ling spoke. She joined forces with Lu Ming to defeat a shadow and stepped forward. That's right, we can only join forces now. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said. All right, I agree. I also agree. The others chimed in one after another. Just now, everyone was still on guard against each other, but now, they had no choice but to join forces again. Because if they didn't join forces, they could only stop here. Everyone broke through the illusionary figures and converged towards the path. After a while, everyone was gathered together. Let's charge. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. There were more than 40 people, and they rushed towards the intersection. All of them were heaven's spiritual bodies, and they came from different monarch-level forces. The true dragon roared and the phoenix let out a long cry as they pounced toward the crowd. Kill! More than 40 heaven's favorites attacked together. All kinds of light exploded. When they combined together, it was extremely terrifying. All kinds of attacks collided with the true dragon and phoenix shadows. They were unstoppable and destroyed the true dragon and phoenix shadows in an instant, drowning them in their own. Bang, bang. The true dragon and phoenix shadows collapsed. This is a good opportunity. Charge. All of the heaven's favorites took this opportunity to rush towards the entrance. In the blink of an eye, more than 40 of them had made it past the two tombs. The true dragon and phoenix shadows immediately gathered together again. However, they did not continue to attack them. Instead, they roared and flew into the tomb, disappearing. Just a wisp of immortal fighting intent has reached the Saint Realm. I wonder how terrifying he was when he was alive? Could it be that he had reached the Emperor rank? Is there an Emperor-level true dragon buried in this tomb? Lu Ming looked at the large tomb, a fiery light flashing in his eyes. If he could obtain the bone armor of an Emperor-level true dragon and refine it, what level would his spirit body evolve to? Would he evolve into a superior-grade heavenly spiritual body in one go? Of course, he was only thinking about it. The tomb was filled with terrifying power of laws. Zhao Kuang had just ended up like that. He naturally didn't dare to attack the tomb. Everyone let out a long breath and followed the path forward. Not long after, a river blocked his path. The strange thing was that the water of this river was yellow, like the legendary river of hell, the Yellow Spring. Is this really the Yellow Spring River? Suddenly, someone spoke, his voice trembling. Because there was a stone tablet there. When everyone looked at it, they saw two words written on the stone tablet, Yellow Springs. Everyone looked at each other and saw shock and fear in each other's eyes. According to the ancient legends, there was a 9 serenities hell between heaven and earth. In the hell, there was a river that ran across the hell. It was called the Yellow Spring. The Yellow Spring was untraversable because once one entered it, no matter what living being it was, they would be corroded by the water and become a part of the Yellow Spring. However, all of this was just a legend. No one had ever seen an Emperor-ranked expert. Could it be that the Netherworld and the 9 serenities hell really existed? Even the Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Taodai, who were both unruly, had serious expressions on their faces. No one dared to rashly attempt to cross the Yellow Springs. If they crossed the river like the legendary Yellow Spring, it would be equivalent to suicide. There's a bridge over there. Someone pointed ahead and shouted. Everyone looked over and saw a bridge ahead. Everyone walked along the shore of the Yellow Spring. When they got closer, they found that the bridge was very wide and led directly to the other side of the Yellow Spring. There were 3 words carved on the bridge. The Bridge of Helplessness. The sound of gasping could be heard, and everyone felt a chill in their hearts. According to the legends, there was a bridge of helplessness above the Yellow Spring. If one wanted to cross the Yellow Spring, they had to cross the Bridge of Helplessness. He didn't expect that there really was a Bridge of Helplessness. The Yellow Springs and the Bridge of Helplessness were just like the legends. Could it be that this place led to the 9 serenities hell? Even though they were all geniuses from Emperor-ranked powers and had seen many things, they still felt a chill down their spines. Legend has it that on the Bridge of Helplessness, there is a Mengpa holding a bowl of soup. Anyone who crosses the bridge has to drink it. After drinking it, they forget everything. Could there be a Mengpa on the Bridge of Helplessness? Someone said, his voice trembling. All of this is just an illusion. Someone deliberately set it up. If there really was a netherworld, why would it appear here? The 10th Golden Crow Prince snorted coldly. His entire body was covered in the golden divine fire of the great sun. He stepped onto the bridge of helplessness and headed towards the other side. That's right. This should be the burial ground of the reincarnation emperor. It can't be the true netherworld. How can it stop me? Then, someone else spoke and stepped forward. Huang Ling, let's go too, Lu Ming said. Huang Ling nodded. The two of them walked side by side and stepped onto the bridge of helplessness. Seeing this, the others also followed. Although they didn't believe it, they were still cautious and on guard. Where did the souls of the ancient heroes go? All of a sudden, a leisurely voice rang out. It came from an unknown place and rang in everyone's ears. Who is it? Someone was shocked and shouted. Where did the souls of the ancient heroes go? The voice continued to ring out, seemingly filled with helplessness and sighs. As the group continued to move forward, that voice continued to ring out. But all this time, it was only this one sentence that repeated itself. Everyone held their breath and paid no attention to this voice. They continued forward, and soon, they would cross the bridge of helplessness. But at this moment, everyone stopped. There was a figure at the end of the bridge. An old woman. The old woman was very old. Her back was hunched, and she wore a loose black robe. Her hair was white, and the wrinkles on her face were like mountains. She was holding a bowl in her hand. In the bowl, there was a milky white liquid. A name appeared in everyone's mind. Chapter 1640, 1640 Drinking Grandma Meng's soup and entering Samsara Gulu. At the thought of the name Meng Pa, many people swallowed their saliva. Was there really a Meng Pa on the bridge of helplessness? Some of them had already broken out in cold sweat. The netherworld, the bridge of helplessness, and Meng Pa. Everything was in line with the legend. Senior, who are you? The 10th Golden Crow Prince was bathed in the great sun divine fire. His eyes were serious as he cupped his fist towards the old woman. The old woman revealed a faint smile and glanced at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The bridge of helplessness on the Yellow Spring River. Naturally Mengpa. Is she really Mengpa? Many people's hearts trembled. This was the tomb of the reincarnation king. Why would there be the netherworld bridge of helplessness and Mengpa? Did this place really lead to hell? Senior, is that reincarnation? Lu Ming suddenly asked. This was because there was no path in front of the bridge of helplessness, only a pitch-black vortex. That's right. That's samsara. You can enter samsara after you drink Grandma Meng's soup and forget about your past and present lives, said Mengpa as she lifted the bowl in her hand. Reincarnation. Reincarnation. The tomb of the reincarnation emperor is right in front of us. Someone asked. That's right. Mengpa smiled. Haha, it's indeed the tomb of the samsara king. The netherworld is all fake. I'm going to meditate in the tomb of the samsara king. The 10th Golden Crow Prince laughed and strode forward. But Mengpa stood in front of him. Young man, she said, if you want to enter samsara, you must drink Meng Pio's soup. Forget your past life and this life. Only then can you enter samsara. Get lost, no one can make me forget my past and present life. The Golden Crow 10th Prince was extremely domineering. He struck out with his palm, and the terrifying godly sunfire rushed toward Mengpa. However, Mengpa waved her hand and the Golden Crow 10th Prince's fire was extinguished. The Golden Crow 10th Prince's eyes narrowed and he transformed into his three-legged Golden Crow form. His body was covered in terrifying flames, like a sun. He flapped his wings and wanted to rush past Mengpa and enter the dark vortex. The young man is too impulsive, Mengpa murmured. She reached out a withered hand and grabbed at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The dried-up claw quickly grew in size, becoming as large as a mountain as it struck towards the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The Golden Crow 10th Prince seemed to have been frozen in place, unable to move at all as he was caught by the withered hand. Damn it! Let's attack together and rush over. The 10th Golden Crow Prince roared. Buzz! A figure rushed forward at extreme speed, wanting to take this opportunity to rush over. He was also a terrifying young man, no weaker than the 10th Crown Prince of the Golden Crow. However, a silk ribbon flew out of Meng Pio's sleeve and wrapped around the young man. The others were shocked. They had wanted to take the opportunity to attack, but they couldn't help but stop. The other party was too terrifying. Even someone as powerful as the Golden Crow 10th Prince couldn't put up any resistance and was captured right away. The other person was the same. The two of them struggled with all their might, but it was of no use. "Senior, spare me, spare me." The Golden Crow 10th Prince was scared and began to beg for mercy. "What are you afraid of? I won't kill you." Mengpa opened her mouth and grabbed the Golden Crow 10th Prince in front of her. Then, she poured the bowl of Mengpa soup into the Golden Crow 10th Prince's mouth. "Don't!" the 10th Golden Crow Prince roared. If he would forget everything after drinking Grandma Meng's soup, would he still be himself? Wouldn't that be the same as death? How could he be willing to drink it? However, his struggles were of no use. His mouth opened on its own, and a bowl of Mengpa soup was poured into the Golden Crow 10th Prince's mouth. Then, his eyes revealed a look of confusion. "Go, enter the cycle of reincarnation." Mengpa waved her hand, and the Golden Crow 10th Prince flew directly into the black vortex and disappeared. Then, everyone saw that the bowl of Mengpio's soup in Mengpio's hand, which was originally empty, was now automatically filled up. Mengpa did the same thing. She poured a bowl of Mengpio's soup into another young man's mouth and then threw him into the dark vortex. "Now it's your turn. Come, drink Grandma Meng's soup and enter the cycle of reincarnation." Mengpa looked at Lu Ming and the rest. Many people broke out in cold sweat. "Senior, I won't go to the tomb of the reincarnation king. I'm leaving." Someone said. If he lost all his memories after drinking Grandma Meng's soup, what was the point of receiving the inheritance of the reincarnation emperor? "Since you're here, there's no reason to retreat. All of you will drink Meng Pio's soup and enter the cycle of reincarnation." Meng Pio's shriveled voice sounded. "No, I'm not going, I quit." A few people shouted and retreated like lightning. "I said, since you're here, you can't leave." Mengpa said indifferently. She reached out her hand and grabbed in the air. The people who were retreating seemed to be fixed in place. Their bodies were fixed in the air, and then they flew toward Mengpa under the effect of a powerful force. Just like before, Mengpa drank a bowl of Mengpa soup and threw it all into the black vortex. "Lu Ming, what should we do?" Huang Ling sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Her pretty face was a little pale. "This Mengpa is too strong. We can't resist her at all." Lu Ming shook his head. The Golden Crow 10th Prince and the others were like babies in Meng Pio's hands. They could not fight back at all. Meng Pio's strength was definitely beyond their imagination. They had no chance at all. Even if Lu Ming went all out with Bubble's help, he would not have any chance of escaping. The difference was too great. Are we really going to drink Grandma Meng's soup and forget about our past and present lives? Said Huang Ling, revealing an unwilling expression. "Huang Ling, do you believe that this is the true netherworld, Mengpa?" Lu Ming did not answer but asked Huang Ling instead. Huang Ling was stunned and pondered, what the netherworld can do to Mengpa is just a legend. It's in the 9 Serenities hell. Legend has it that the 9 Serenities hell is in the heaven realm. Heaven realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He did not think much about it and said, "That's right. That's why I feel that this place is man-made. Perhaps it's just a test and they might not really lose their memories. So, we can only take a gamble." "Take a gamble?" "That's right. Since I can't escape, I'll take a gamble. I'll be leaving first." With that, Lu Ming stepped out and strode toward Mengpa. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming actually took the initiative to step forward? "Little fellow, please." Mengpa picked up the soup in her hand. "All right." Lu Ming was very direct. He picked up the bowl of Mengpa's soup and drank it in one gulp. Then he returned the bowl to Mengpa and leaped into the dark vortex. "I'll do it." Then, a burly young man walked out. It was Yi Dongfang. Obviously, Lu Ming was not the only bold person. Like Lu Ming, Yi Dongfang drank the Mengpa soup and jumped into the vortex. After that, Huang Ling stepped out and drank the soup before jumping into the whirlpool. The others' expressions changed, but they also understood that there was no way out today. They could only drink Grandma Meng's soup and then step forward one by one. Not long after, all the elites who had entered had jumped into the black vortex. After everyone had jumped into the black vortex, Meng Pio's body on the bridge of helplessness disappeared like an illusion, as if she had never been there. Chapter 1641 Experiencing 9 Lives, Reincarnation Emperor. After Lu Ming jumped into the vortex, he felt dizzy and more confused. Gradually, he fell into darkness and could not feel anything. After an unknown period of time, Lu Ming gradually regained his consciousness. He slowly opened his eyes. His eyes revealed the vicissitudes of life, as if he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. He actually experienced 9 lives and 9 reincarnations. Could it be that reincarnation really exists in the world? Lu Ming muttered to himself, his eyes filled with complicated emotions. At this moment, a series of images appeared in his mind. He remembered everything. He drank the Mengpa soup, jumped into the whirlpool, and fell into the darkness. After that, he experienced 9 lives. In his first life, he was born into a family of generals in the empire. From a young age, he led the army to war and conquered the world. When he was middle-aged, he became the defender general of the empire, who had a large number of troops in his hands. However, he was suspected by the emperor and he killed Lu Ming on a false charge. Then he was reincarnated. In his second life, he became a scholar from a poor family. He was determined to be the top scorer, but he fell in love with a noble family's daughter when he was the top scorer. In the end, he was secretly killed by the noble family. And then it was the third life. In this life, he became an ordinary person, a villager of a small village. He married and had children. The men worked the fields while the women weaved. In the end, he had a house full of children and grandchildren. His hair was white and he died of old age. The fourth life. The fifth life. In his 9th life, he became a good-for-nothing who couldn't awaken his bloodline. His bloodline was dug out by his childhood sweetheart, and then he accidentally obtained the supreme shrine and embarked on the martial path. Later on, when he awakened the third bloodline let out a loud roar. He woke up all of a sudden, as if his reincarnation had ended. The 9th life is my own experience, and it's exactly the same as my own experience. Is there really reincarnation in this world, or have I awakened the memories of the previous 8 lives? Lu Ming muttered. He was shocked and confused. He could not tell what was real and what was fake. Then, was his life also one of the reincarnations? Was everything he had experienced all along the way real or fake? Little guy, I didn't expect you to wake up after experiencing 9 lives. This is really beyond my expectations. At this moment, an old voice entered Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He then looked around. He was in a huge secret chamber, and an old man in black was walking toward him. Senior, who are you? Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, In the past, everyone called me Samsara. The old man smiled. Reincarnation? You are the Reincarnation Emperor. Lu Ming could not help but exclaim. His mind slowly cleared up. Could it be that the Reincarnation Emperor was still alive? Well, you can say that. But now, it's only a wisp of a soul. The old man said with a smile. Lu Ming took a closer look and realized that the other party was not a physical entity. It was more like a shadow or a wisp of soul. Senior Samsara, is there really such a thing as samsara in this world? Lu Ming asked. In his mind, fragments of those 9 lives flashed past from time to time. Does reincarnation really exist in this world? I don't know. The Reincarnation Emperor sighed. You don't know either? Lu Ming was puzzled. It was said that the Reincarnation Emperor controlled the law of reincarnation, which was one of the strongest laws in the world. It was on par with the law of chaos. Did he not know about reincarnation? Then were the 9 lives he had experienced real or fake? How could it be so real? Little guy, do you have any doubts about your previous experience? In fact, that was not really reincarnation. It was just a reflection in the depths of your heart. You can understand it as a kind of illusion, or rather, it could also be that it awakened the memories of your previous life, said the Reincarnation Emperor. So there's no reincarnation in this world. Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and his mind regained its calm. It's hard to say. Maybe when my cultivation reaches a high enough level, I can really reincarnate. Unfortunately, my cultivation level is not high enough. The reincarnation emperor sighed and looked at Lu Ming. Little guy, what's your name? You're the first one to wake up in your group. I thought that the strongest one among you would have to experience hundreds of lives before waking up. You're really strange. I'm Lu Ming. Senior, how long have I been here? Lu Ming asked. You've been here for 3 months, said the reincarnation emperor. 3 months? That's good. Lu Ming felt relieved. He had experienced 9 lives, and it felt like he had experienced a long time. He had comprehended the different lives of 9 lives. He was still afraid, but in reality, he had also experienced a long time. 3 months was still fine. Senior, did you build this tomb? There's also the helpless yellow springs from before. Lu Ming then asked a bunch of questions. He was really curious. Of course not. I was almost gone in that battle. Later on, a peerless master came here and built a tomb for me. He also saved a wisp of my soul. Everything outside was done by that master. Perhaps he didn't want me to waste my life's knowledge, so he left a tomb for me to pass on my legacy. The reincarnation emperor explained. As expected, Lu Ming muttered. He had heard of the legend before. It was said that after the 100 Clan War, an unparalleled expert came to the 100 Clan battlefield and cultivated 9 of the strongest great emperors into 9 graves. The 1,000 Kills martial emperor from the 1,000 Kills mansion had entered one of the great emperor's tombs and obtained the inheritance. It seemed that the netherworld helplessness from before was indeed fake. It was a trap set up by that peerless expert. Lu Ming, you cultivate the 9 dragons combat body, right? Speaking of which, you have some connections with that unparalleled expert. That expert is one of the top 10 war beasts, the 9 lives devilish silkworm, said the reincarnation emperor. 9 lives devilish silkworm. Lu Ming was shocked. According to Dandan, the top 10 war beasts had all been killed in a battle a long time ago, but now it seemed that things were not that simple. Through a special method, Dandan managed to keep her life. After that, Lu Ming saw the Titan Longhorn. He heard that the 9 lives devilish silkworm was still alive. Perhaps, many of the top 10 war beasts still existed in this world. What a pity, what a pity. At this moment, the reincarnation emperor looked at Lu Ming carefully and sighed. Senior, what's a pity? Lu Ming was puzzled. You were the first to wake up after experiencing 9 lives. You could have received my inheritance, mastered the reincarnation domain, and then comprehended the reincarnation law. Unfortunately, you have already comprehended the chaos domain. Chaos and reincarnation are one of the 10 strongest laws in the world. Just like how a mountain cannot contain 2 tigers, they are difficult to control and fuse at the same time. The reincarnation emperor sighed and explained in detail. Cultivators, after cultivating to a certain realm, could control many laws at the same time. However, there were 10 ultimate maxims in the world that were difficult to control at the same time. Since ancient times, only rare geniuses and peerless talents could control one of them. It was impossible to control 2 or more. Chapter 1642 Breakthrough to Half-Saint, Chaotic Chi. After listening to the explanation of the reincarnation emperor, Lu Ming felt that it was a pity. At the same time, he was shocked. In the world, there were actually 9 laws that could be on par with chaos. In the past, Lu Ming did not know about this at all. It seemed that he still knew too little. Senior, perhaps in the future, there will be someone suitable for Senior's inheritance. Lu Ming said. Although it was a pity, he could only give up. He couldn't possibly give up the chaos domain and switch to reincarnation, right? That was impossible. There's no time left. This wisp of my soul can't exist for long. The reincarnation emperor sighed. Then, a crystal-like object appeared in his hand. Laws revolved around it and it was extremely wonderful. Lu Ming looked at it as if he was looking at a whole new world. Lu Ming, this is my world core. It contains all my inheritance. Take it. If you meet a suitable person in the future, help me pass it on. This is my last wish. The reincarnation emperor said with a sigh. The fact that a great emperor had fallen into such a state was truly lamentable. Senior, Lu Ming will definitely find the most suitable successor for you and pass it on. Lu Ming's gaze was firm. He then took the world core from the reincarnation emperor and put it away solemnly. Many thanks. The reincarnation emperor smiled and said, Little guy, since you are the first one to wake up, how can I let you return empty-handed? This reincarnation halberd is for you. The reincarnation emperor's palm glowed, and a halberd appeared. This reincarnation halberd used to be my combat weapon, but it has been severely damaged and has no power left. However, I have sealed 2 forces inside it. If these 2 forces were to be fully unleashed, they can kill any expert below the emperor realm, said the reincarnation emperor. It can kill any expert below the emperor rank. Lu Ming was shocked, then ecstatic. Such a treasure was simply heaven-defying. At a critical moment, it was a treasure that could definitely turn the tables and save his life. That's right. Of course, there are only 2 forces. Once you use them, there's no more. Take them. The reincarnation emperor passed the reincarnation halberd to Lu Ming, who accepted it with joy. Okay, they'll send you out now, said the reincarnation emperor. Senior, can I stay here for a while? I want to cultivate here. Lu Ming said. Previously, he had experienced 9 lifetimes. Those scenes were like 9 real lives. Lu Ming had learned a lot. He felt that he was about to make a breakthrough in the chaos realm. One more step and he would be a half-saint. As long as he broke through to the half-saint realm, his strength would skyrocket. He would have more confidence when he went out. It's fine, you can continue to cultivate, said the reincarnation emperor. Lu Ming nodded and then sat cross-legged. He took out the Path Understanding Ancient Tree and started to comprehend it quietly. The Path Understanding Ancient Tree? It seems like this little fellow has more secrets than I thought. The reincarnation emperor was stunned for a moment, and then he smiled. The chaos domain on Lu Ming's body was shaking up and down. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. Boom. The chaos domain on Lu Ming's body suddenly trembled violently and then expanded with an imposing aura. The ultimate domain. After going through 9 reincarnations, Lu Ming had an epiphany and finally made a breakthrough in the chaos domain to the extreme. The ultimate primal chaos domain was much more powerful than a level 9 primal chaos domain. As soon as the chaos realm was broken through, the essential core in Lu Ming's body also went berserk. It whistled and jumped, its speed increasing. His cultivation base was about to break through. Lu Ming waved his hand and a large pile of mid-grade raw gemstones appeared on the ground. Lu Ming circulated the devouring power and devoured the raw gemstones madly, beginning to refine them. 3 days later, Lu Ming had already refined an unknown number of raw gemstones. His aura suddenly increased explosively, forming a primordial chi pillar that shot straight to the top of the secret chamber. However, this secret chamber was very sturdy. Lu Ming's essential core chi column rushed to the top and there was no reaction at all. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes. He had finally broken through to the first stage of half-saint. After breaking through to the half-saint realm, his combat strength had increased dramatically. He was now confident that he could suppress the Taotai alone. Little guy, I almost forgot. I can see a trace of chaos chi in your body. Let me give you another opportunity. The reincarnation emperor appeared and walked over. A stream of chi appeared in his hand and started to circle around his arm. This is the real chaos chi. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. He could immediately sense that the current on the arm of the reincarnation emperor was the real chaotic chi. Although he cultivated the chaos domain, he had never seen true chaos chi. That's right. This is a wisp of true chaotic chi. I obtained it before the Great War. I originally wanted to refine it into the reincarnation halberd, but after the Great War, I gave it up. Now I'll give it to you. Refine it into your spirit body, and the power of your spirit body will be greatly improved. Lu Ming, close your eyes. I'll give you a hand. The reincarnation emperor shouted. Lu Ming quickly closed his eyes and became one with his mind. The reincarnation emperor waved his hand, and a wisp of chaotic chi flew out and entered Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The chi of chaos was the chi of origin between heaven and earth. Even a wisp of it could collapse a mountain. It was extremely heavy. As soon as the chaos chi entered Lu Ming's body, he felt that his body was about to break apart. Hold on, there's a trace of chaos chi in your body. You should be able to refine it. The voice of the reincarnation emperor rang in Lu Ming's ears. Then, a ray of light was emitted from the reincarnation emperor's hand and enveloped Lu Ming. Instantly, Lu Ming felt the pressure on his body lighten. He then focused his mind and began to refine with all his might. Slowly, a wisp of true chaotic chi intertwined with the original wisp of chaotic chi in his body and seeped into Lu Ming's body. His body was slowly becoming stronger. At this moment, on the bridge of helplessness, there were many young men sitting cross-legged. They were Huang Ling, the Golden Crow 10th Prince, the Taoai, and the others. The more than 40 Heaven's favorites who had jumped into the vortex were all here. At this moment, all of the Heaven's favorites opened their eyes, and they were all confused. What's going on? I clearly remember drinking Grandma Meng's soup and jumping into the whirlpool. Why am I still here? Someone asked, full of doubt. I don't know either. I only know that I fell into darkness and lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was already here. I'm the same. The others all nodded. It seemed that they were different from Lu Ming. Lu Ming could remember everything that happened in his 9 reincarnations, but these people seemed to have forgotten. The Golden Crow 10th Prince's body was covered in flames. He stood up and looked around cautiously. When he didn't see Meng Pe, he let out a long breath. It seems like we have come out after entering the reincarnation. Who is it that has obtained the inheritance of the reincarnation emperor? The 10th Golden Crow Prince said coldly. Chapter 1643, 1643. All staring at Lu Ming, everyone looked at each other. They also wanted to know who had obtained the inheritance of the reincarnation emperor. The one who obtained the inheritance of the reincarnation emperor must be among us. It's best to tell us. Don't try to keep it for yourself, the Taoai said coldly. His body moved and blocked the bridge of helplessness path of retreat. He stared at the crowd with a ferocious look. The crowd looked at each other in confusion. For a moment, the scene quieted down, and the atmosphere was a little heavy. Before we find out who got the inheritance of the reincarnation emperor, well, stay here. No one can leave. The Taoai was extremely overbearing. There seems to be one person missing from our group. At this moment, a voice rang out. It was Sima Liang, and his gaze turned towards Huang Ling. That's right. One person is missing. Lu Ming is not here, said a young man in black feather clothes. He was young Master Tianying of the Heavenly Bird Palace. Huang Ling's eyes were filled with doubt. Why was Lu Ming not here? It really is so. Could it be that Lu Ming has obtained the legacy and is now accepting it? Maybe he has already left. Some people were making guesses. Well, wait here. If Lu Ming hasn't come out yet, he'll definitely come out later. If he doesn't come out after a while, well, go out and look for him. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's eyes flashed with a sharp light. The reincarnation emperor was a true emperor who could control the law of reincarnation. His inheritance was even more precious than the inheritance of the 1,000-kill martial emperor. Who wouldn't be tempted? Immediately, everyone began to wait quietly on the bridge of helplessness. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was focused on refining the chaos chi. Slowly, a wisp of chaos chi seeped into the depths of Lu Ming's body and spread to every cell, giving every part of Lu Ming's body a wisp of chaos chi. After a few days, Lu Ming finally managed to completely refine the wisp of chaos chi. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and leaped up. What powerful strength! Lu Ming felt that his body was filled with endless power. His punch was heavier than a mountain. He now felt that he could kill a half-saint who had comprehended the laws with his physical strength alone. Lu Ming, although your current spirit body is still a low-grade celestial spirit body, in terms of strength, it's no weaker than a medium-grade celestial spirit body. The voice of the reincarnation emperor could be heard. Many thanks, Senior. Senior, you, Lu Ming stood up and was about to bow to the Reincarnation Emperor when he realized that the Reincarnation Emperor's body had become very ethereal, as if he would disappear at any moment. He understood that the Reincarnation Emperor had used up the last of his soul power to help him. "I'm sorry, Senior." Lu Ming's heart was filled with a deep sense of apology. He felt that his nose was a little sour. "Little guy, don't blame yourself. This wisp of my soul was about to dissipate anyway. It has nothing to do with you. Now I'll send you out. Go and roam the world as soon as possible." Then, the Reincarnation Emperor waved his hand. Lu Ming felt his body tighten. He left the secret room and came to an empty place. There was a black vortex in front of him. "Senior, I will definitely find a suitable successor for you so that your legacy can be passed down." Lu Ming secretly swore in his heart and then stepped into the vortex. The next moment, Lu Ming passed through the vortex and a bridge appeared in front of him. It was the Bridge of Helplessness. Lu Ming took a step and stepped onto the Bridge of Helplessness. On the Bridge of Helplessness, everyone's eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. Their eyes were filled with a fiery glow. "Everyone, long time no see, I hope you've been well." Lu Ming smiled. "Lu Ming, you're finally out. Tell me, did you get the inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor?" The 10th Golden Crow Prince emanated a powerful aura and locked onto Lu Ming. "The inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor? Why do you say that?" Lu Ming pretended to be puzzled. "Lu Ming, I knew you would deny it. All of us appeared here at the same time. You're the only one who came out a few days later than the others. You must have obtained the inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor." The Taotai opened its mouth and strode over. "Just because I'm a little later, does it mean that I've obtained the inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor?" Lu Ming said indifferently. "Everyone, it's very simple. As long as we cripple him and search his soul, everything will be clear. At that time, I'll still have to spit out everything." A cold voice rang out. It was Sima Liang. Since the beginning of the fight for the map and key of the tomb of the Samsara King, he had been at a disadvantage in the hands of Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Later on, he and Zhao Kuang wanted to cooperate with Lu Ming and Huang Ling but were chased away by Lu Ming. This was a great humiliation. He had been looking for an opportunity to kill Lu Ming. Now that he had such an opportunity, of course, he would not let it go. He immediately added fuel to the fire. Lu Ming's cold gaze turned to Sima Liang. "You're looking for death." Sima Liang's expression changed, and he was a little frightened. However, when he thought about the fact that there were so many experts present, he became braver and said, "What's wrong? Did I speak your mind? You want to kill me? Humph, there are so many people here, you won't have the chance today." "That's right. Lu Ming, you should hand over the inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor." Young Master Tianying said coldly. Bang! The 10th Golden Crow Prince took a step forward, and his entire body was covered in the divine fire of the Great Sun. "If you don't want to admit it, then I'll search your soul." "Golden Crow, what are you doing? Die!" Huang Ling shouted as the undying flame spread out from her body. Her powerful aura surged towards the 10th Golden Crow Prince. "Huang Ling, you'd better just stand there obediently," the Taotai said coldly. It took a step forward and stood in front of Bai Lin. "Everyone, let's search his soul directly. Other than the inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor, there are other secrets on this person. Let's get them together." Sima Liang clamored, extremely arrogant. "You're looking for death." Lu Ming looked at Sima Liang coldly and took a step forward, walking towards him. "Who do you want to kill? Stay here." The Golden Crow 10th Crown Prince said coldly as he clawed at Lu Ming. However, the will of wind and thunder flashed across Lu Ming's body as he used the thundering wind steps. In a flash, Lu Ming dodged the attack of the 10th Golden Crow Prince and appeared in front of Sima Liang in an instant. Then he stretched out his hand to grab Sima Liang. Sima Liang was shocked. He unleashed all of his cultivation and a heavenly halberd appeared in his hand, which he then swung at Lu Ming. "Kill!" Lu Ming suddenly shouted and used the divine sword technique. 2 black rays of light shot out from his eyes and blasted into Sima Liang's spiritual god. Instantly, Sima Liang screamed in pain and his hands froze. When a martial artist made a breakthrough in their cultivation, they would also take the opportunity to condense their soul, and their soul power would also increase accordingly. When Lu Ming broke through to the first stage of the half-saint, his soul force had also improved. His soul power was already equivalent to the third stage of the half-saint realm. Now that he had improved, he was infinitely close to the soul power of the saint realm. After using the divine sword technique, even if Sima Liang had a spiritual divine defensive treasure, he was still greatly affected. Chapter 1644 Suppressing the Golden Crow. Taodai. Sima Liang's movements paused for a moment. Lu Ming's claw had grabbed his throat. A terrifying force blasted out and surged into Sima Liang's body. Sima Liang's essential core was scattered immediately. The bones in his body crackled and many of them were broken. Release. Let me go. Sima Liang's eyes were filled with fear. I'll let you go. I've already given you a chance. You're the one who's looking for death. I can't help you. Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, you'd better let him go. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said, his eyes shining with golden light and cold killing intent. He was the one who freed Lu Ming from his grasp. He grabbed Sima Liang and made him feel very embarrassed. You want me to let him go? Who do you think you are? Lu Ming looked at the 10th Golden Crow Prince, not giving him any face at all. In his palm, a violent force suddenly burst out. Bang! Sima Liang's body exploded in Lu Ming's hands. Then, he was crushed by the terrifying power and turned into ashes. The others gasped. How could Lu Ming's abilities be so terrifying? Sima Liang's abilities were definitely not weak. He was on par with most of the people at the scene. Yet, he could not even last one move against Lu Ming. He was as weak as a baby and could not fight back at all. Young Master Tianying, in particular, had spoken to Lu Ming earlier and was shivering. It's just a surprise attack by relying on soul attack techniques. You're courting death. Kill. The Golden Crow 10th Crown Prince shouted coldly. With a flash of golden light, he pounced toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming actually dared to berate him? He simply didn't know what death was. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's claws transformed into the Golden Crow's claws, suffused with the divine sun fire. He clawed at Lu Ming, wanting to kill him with a single claw. His aura was terrifying. On the side, Huang Ling wanted to help but was blocked by Tao Tai. The others looked on coldly. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He stood still and his palm was like a blade, slashing towards the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Lu Ming actually wants to fight the 10th Golden Crow Prince in close combat. He's really looking for death. The body of the Golden Crow is extremely powerful to begin with. The body of the 10th Golden Crow Prince is equivalent to a low-grade celestial spiritual body. Coupled with the infusion of the laws, it is even more terrifying. Lu Ming has no chance of winning in close combat. Some people could not help but mock Lu Ming when they saw that he was going to take the 10th Golden Crow Prince's claw with his palm. Bang! Lu Ming's palm landed on the claws of the 10th Golden Crow Prince, and a metallic sound rang out. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's expression changed drastically. He let out a furious roar and unleashed a flurry of claw shadows. Lu Ming's palms also struck out continuously. In an instant, the two of them clashed head-on and exchanged dozens of moves. But what was even more shocking was that after a few dozen moves, the Golden Crow 10th Prince was forced to retreat. He took a few steps back before he could regain his balance. His palm was trembling slightly and there was blood flowing out. In a head-on confrontation, he was no match for Lu Ming at all. His claws were cracked from the impact. The others were dumbfounded. How was this possible? In a head-on clash, Lu Ming actually had the upper hand in terms of physical strength, and he had injured the 10th Golden Crow Prince. It's my turn. Lu Ming let out a long howl and charged toward the 10th Prince. His chaos domain, which had reached its peak, covered his entire body. He used the prison's suppressing heavenly art and attacked the 10th Prince in a frenzy. Gah! With a screech, the Golden Crow 10th Crown Prince transformed into his true form. His entire body glowed with a golden light, like a small sun. He flapped his wings and slashed at Lu Ming. However, as soon as he came into contact with Lu Ming, his body trembled as if it was torn apart. His divine sunfire and the law of flames were completely suppressed by Lu Ming's ultimate chaos domain. Boom! Golden feathers were dancing in the sky. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was enraged. He reached out with 3 claws at Lu Ming, but was knocked back by Lu Ming's punches. So strong! Everyone was shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was so powerful that he could suppress the 10th Golden Crow Prince. He's made a breakthrough. He was already terrifying when he was in the 9th level of the Martial Royal Realm. Now that he's broken through to the Half-Saint Realm, his combat strength must be even stronger. Someone said, "Taoite, come and help me." The 10th Golden Crow Prince roared. Tao Tai transformed into his true form and was about to rush up to help, but Huang Ling blocked him. "Huang Ling, let him come at me together. They'll beat him up together today," Lu Ming said. The phoenix spirit's eyes shone with a strange light. Then she really dodged. The Tao Tai roared and pounced towards Lu Ming. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted and launched the divine sword technique. He then raised his hand and cast the chaos sky-turning stamp at the Tao. The primal chaos sky-turning seal pressed down, almost crushing the Tao Tai town. Boom! 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 Lu Ming was like a god of war as he launched a storm of attacks at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was forced to retreat and howl in anger. In the end, Lu Ming grabbed one of the Golden Crow 10th Prince's wings, lifted it up, and threw it at the charging Tao. With a bang, the Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Tao Tai collided, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Buzz! In the sky, a huge chaos sky-turning stamp appeared and pressed down on the Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Tao. The terrifying might caused the others to continuously retreat to the 2 ends of the Bridge of Helplessness, afraid of being affected. The 10th Golden Crow Prince and the Tao Tai howled as they fought back with all their might. However, it was useless. Lu Ming had used all his strength to cast the Chaos Empyrean Seal. It was extremely powerful. The bodies of the 10th Golden Crow Prince and the Tao Tai trembled violently as they were forced to the ground and spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Everyone looked at each other with disbelief in their eyes. Lu Ming was fighting 1 against 2, and he had actually suppressed the Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Tao Tai so much that they were lying on the ground and vomiting blood. How was this possible? Lu Ming's combat strength was strong. They were aware of this before. Now that Lu Ming had broken through, they had originally speculated that Lu Ming could fight with one of them or even win. However, he had completely crushed them. This was too terrifying. They did not know that Lu Ming's spirit body had refined a wisp of true chaos chi. Although it was still a low-tier celestial spirit body, it was already equivalent to a medium-tier celestial spirit body. Naturally, he would be able to completely crush the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao. Kill! The black dragon spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he charged toward the Golden Crow 10th Prince and the Tao. Let's go! The 10th Golden Crow Prince and the Tao Tai let out a loud roar as they suddenly charged towards the other side of the Bridge of Helplessness. They ran back the way they came from at an astonishing speed. Lu Ming's eyes flickered but he did not pursue. At this moment, the others looked at Lu Ming with fear and solemnness. Even the other heaven's favorites on the same level as the 10th Golden Crow Prince were no exception. Lu Ming, your combat strength has become stronger. I'm no match for you at all. Huang Ling walked over and smiled. Let's go out. Lu Ming smiled and did not say much. He walked back the way they came. Chapter 1645, 1645 Chapter 1645 Change. Saints around the other heaven's favorites remained silent. Finally, they looked at each other and returned to where they came from. Although they had all guessed that the inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor was likely to fall into Lu Ming's hands, the combat strength that Lu Ming had just displayed was too strong. So what if it fell into Lu Ming's hands? What could they do? They would have to join forces to fight Lu Ming. However, judging from Lu Ming's combat strength, they would have to pay a heavy price even if they joined forces. They did not know how many people would die before they could take Lu Ming down. Which one of them was willing to take this risk? Lu Ming and Huang Ling walked in front. They soon passed through the small path and arrived at the area where the group of tombs was. However, when they walked into the tombs this time, there was no movement from the tombs. No illusionary figures came out to attack them. They passed through the tombs easily and arrived at the long passage. In front of him, the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Taotai saw Lu Ming approaching and immediately broke into a run, running madly through the passageway. Lu Ming sneered and stepped into the passage with Huang Ling. He strode forward, and the others followed behind him. The amazing thing was that when they came in before, it took them half a month to pass through the passage. This time, they only used a day to reach the end. They saw the mountain that had been split open by the halberd. Lu Ming could not help but think of the reincarnation halberd that the reincarnation emperor had given him. It seemed to be the halberd that was formed after the fusion of 10 keys. Buzz! Buzz! Once they were out of the passageway, the 10th Golden Crow Prince and the Taotai cast a cold glance at Lu Ming, then soared into the sky and flew into the distance. But right at this moment, a terrifying sword light appeared in the sky up ahead and slashed down towards the 10th Golden Crow Prince. This sword light looked like a rusty iron sword. It cut through the void and was hundreds of thousands of feet tall. At the same time, there was also a terrifying spear that was also covered in rust. It was incomparably huge as it charged towards Taotai. Who's there? You're looking for death. The 10th Golden Crow Prince let out a long cry and flew up into the sky. The divine fire of the sun burned fiercely, and one of his claws grew rapidly as he tried to grab the iron sword. At the same time, the Taotai roared and shot out a destructive light toward the spear. Boom! Boom! With two loud explosions, the figures of the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Taotai were blocked. They were suspended in the air. Even with their combat strength, they were unable to rush out. Their eyes were like lightning as they looked forward. In front of him, two figures stepped through the air. The two figures were both wearing rusty iron armors, and their bodies were filled with a strong aura of death. The difference was that one was holding a sword, and the other was holding a spear. Undead, and two of them were in the Saint Realm. What's going on? The undead are actually attacking the 10th Golden Crow Prince. At this moment, Lu Ming and the rest had rushed out of the passage one after another. Someone asked doubtfully, "Kill, kill." The two undead saints stepped forward and charged toward the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Tao. Damn it! The 10th Golden Crow Prince and the Taotai roared in anger. They could only use their full power to fight. Instantly, two balls of bright light burst out in the sky. "Let's go!" some of the young men said as they flew in another direction. Although he didn't know why the two undead saints attacked the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Taotai, it was better to leave as soon as possible while they were busy. At this moment, a terrifying roar shook the heavens and earth. A destructive light shot towards the few heaven's favorites who were flying at high speed. Not good. Quickly retreat. A few heaven's favorites roared and attacked. However, as the beam of light passed by, the few heaven's favorites retreated and blood flowed out of their mouths. "Saint, it's the saint again!" A few of the elites shouted. Roars were heard. On their left, a few giant creatures stepped in the air, exuding a terrible aura. It was the holy aura. Those huge creatures were all fierce beasts, and they were all in the Saint Realm. Then, a loud roar came from the right. A terrifying pressure spread towards Lu Ming and the others. A few figures appeared. Each figure was bathed in a brilliant light. Their faces could not be seen clearly, but their auras were definitely that of saints. At the same time, a powerful aura spread down from above their heads. A few saints had also appeared. There are 12 experts of the Saint Realm. What do they want? A young man's face turned pale. These Saint Realm experts were obviously from the various races on the 100 Clan battlefield. They usually ruled their own areas, but they had actually gathered here today. Kill them all. A voice full of killing intent came from the sky. Kill. The beasts of the Saint Stage and the other strange races charged toward Lu Ming and the rest. Other than the two undead, there were a total of 10 saints who launched terrifying attacks at Lu Ming and the rest. Instantly, a heaven's favorite was blown up in the air and died. Buzz. A fearsome claw ray was aimed at Lu Ming, but he punched out and destroyed it. The scene was in a chaotic battle. Following that, a few more screams rang out as a few more geniuses were killed. A saint not only mastered laws, but also condensed saint power. Saint energy was completely different from Zhen Yuan and demonic power. It was a qualitative improvement. Saint energy was extremely powerful and could easily destroy Zhen Yuan and demonic power. Although these geniuses were powerful, unless they entered the third level of the half-saint realm, they would still find it difficult to fight against a saint. Charge! Let's charge out together! Someone shouted. Facing 10 saints, they had to work together to have a chance. Kill! Lu Ming and Huang Ling dashed to the left. The other paragons gathered together and charged with Lu Ming. Roar! A few huge Saint Realm demonic beasts roared and charged at Lu Ming. One of them looked like a giant lizard with bone spikes all over its body. It was at least a few hundred meters long. It stretched out its huge claws and clawed at Lu Ming. This was a beast at the lower tier of the Bright Saint Realm. Lu Ming threw a punch at the beast's sharp claws. Bang! Lu Ming's punch landed on the beast's sharp claws. The beast's huge body was forced to retreat. In terms of strength, he was no match for Lu Ming. The 10th Golden Crow Prince and the Taotai could fight with ordinary saints. With Lu Ming's combat power, he could easily suppress an ordinary Saint Realm beast. As the gigantic beast retreated, Lu Ming and the rest charged forward at top speed. Stop them! The other beasts roared loudly. A few of them in the sky also charged toward Lu Ming and the rest. Let's attack together. Die! Huang Ling shouted. The undying flame burned on her body, and a flaming phoenix rushed out toward a beast. Thunderbolts filled the air. Yi Dongfang was beside the phoenix spirit. The sky was filled with thunderbolts, forming a huge thunderbolt sword that slashed at a beast. One of the yellow-robed young men's arms suddenly grew bigger. His face was covered with rocks. He punched at the sky and blocked a saint. As for the other heaven's favorites, they gathered together and attacked with all sorts of methods. Chapter 1646, 1646 Chapter 1646 Full of doubts. Although the heaven's favorites in the second stage of the half-saint realm were slightly weaker, they were still a force to be reckoned with when they gathered together. The power of all kinds of laws intertwined and blasted into the sky. Even though the opponent was a saint, he was still forced to retreat. As for Lu Ming, he held the Chaos Sky-Turning Seal in his hand and threw it at the huge lizard-like beast. Bang! The lizard-like ferocious beast was hit by the Chaos Sky-Turning Stamp and was forced to retreat. Its skin and flesh were torn open and blood was flowing out. They took the opportunity to charge forward. Stay here! A cold voice suddenly came from the front. A huge demonic palm grabbed at them. The vast aura made Lu Ming's expression change. Great mastery of Bright Saint. Lu Ming roared angrily. The other party had even sent out a great mastery Bright Saint. They were going to kill them. Each level of the Saint Realm was divided into 4 levels: initial, upper, peak, and perfection. The gap between each level was huge, even bigger than the gap between each level of the martial royal realm. Why did the saints of the various races in the 100-clan battlefield join forces to kill them? At this moment, Lu Ming and the other young men were filled with questions. However, now was not the time to be confused. The most important thing was to rush out first. Join hands with me! Lu Ming shouted. His hands were like phantoms as the chaos domain boiled. A huge Chaos Sky-Turning Seal was formed and blasted toward the huge demonic palm. On the side, Huang Ling, Yi Dongfang, the yellow-robed young man, and the other powerful cultivators all joined forces. Their terrifying attacks merged into a colorful light pillar and rushed toward the demonic palm. Boom! The demonic palm was crushed immediately. Lu Ming was at the forefront. He immediately changed direction and flew at top speed. The rest of the people followed behind him. The Saint Realm experts were in hot pursuit. On the other side, the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Taotai had also broken through the other party's blockade and fled into the distance. Boom! On the other side, another demonic palm formed and grabbed towards them. They continued to work together and destroyed the demonic palm. They were flying forward rapidly, but the saints behind them were hot on their heels. There was also a terrifying demonic light flying toward them. The existence in the demonic light was a powerhouse at the great mastery of the bright saint realm. Let's split up. Otherwise, if we're targeted like this, none of us will be able to escape, Lu Ming said. The expressions of the others changed rapidly. Well, split up. We'll only have a chance if 3 to 5 people join forces. Yi Dongfang shouted and turned into a bolt of lightning, rushing in another direction. Let's go! Then, the yellow-robed young man was also sent flying. The other 2 heavens favorites who had reached the womb realm also flew out. Following that, the weaker ones split up into groups of 3 to 5 and fled into the distance. As for Lu Ming and Huang Ling, they flew straight ahead at top speed, raising their speed to the maximum. You guys go after those people. Leave those 2 to me. The being in the demonic light had its eyes on Lu Ming and was chasing after him. The other saints scattered and chased after the others. Buzz! Buzz! With one chasing and one escaping, Lu Ming, Huang Ling, and the existence in the ball of demonic light flew tens of thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. The ball of demonic light was approaching Lu Ming and Lin Feng at an alarming speed. Bubble! With a thought from Lu Ming, Bubbles, who was hiding in the pagoda, appeared and opened a space-time tunnel. Lu Ming and Feng Ling rushed in and appeared 10,000 miles away. Then, Bubbles continued to open the tunnel. After a few times, they completely shook off the ball of demonic light. It seems like Bubbles has also advanced. Lu Ming's heart stirred. In the Yuan continent, when Bubbles opened the space-time tunnel in the past, he could only travel a few thousand miles. Now, he could travel 10,000 miles. It seemed like Bubbles had also improved during the 3 months that he had experienced 9 reincarnations. She should have reached the first stage of the half-saint realm, and her strength had increased greatly. They flew for another 100,000 miles before stopping. Why do these saints want to kill us? Is it because we entered the tomb of the reincarnation king? Huang Ling frowned and couldn't figure it out. Lu Ming shook his head. He could not figure it out either. If it was because of the tomb of the reincarnation emperor, it should be the undead race that attacked them because it was the territory of the undead race. Why were there so many races? Moreover, Lu Ming felt that the being in the last ball of magic light should be a human. In the 100-clan battlefield, the only humans who had reached the Saint Realm were the natives. Let's go back to Darkwater City first, he said. Lu Ming said. The Phoenix spirit nodded and the 2 of them flew towards Darkwater City. After a while, many figures gathered in front of the mountain where the tomb of the reincarnation king was. There were 2 saints from the undead race, a few powerful beasts, and other races. All 12 saints had gathered here. Damn it, those people escaped. I only killed a dozen or so. The giant lizard that was badly beaten by Lu Ming let out an angry roar. At this moment, a ball of demonic light flew over. The other saints all looked at the demonic light. The demonic light was retracted, revealing a figure. It was a human, a black-robed old man with a gloomy face. I deliberately disclosed the information of the tomb of the reincarnation emperor to these foreign talents so that they would fight each other for the tomb. I didn't expect that these people didn't lose much after entering the tomb. What a mistake! The black-robed old man said in a low voice. What do we do now? A saint asked. Kill. We must kill him. The 100-clan battlefield belongs to us, the black-robed elder said in a cold voice. The wealth and treasures here belong to us. However, the large sects and factions outside have been sending young geniuses here for many years to plunder the wealth and kill the creatures of our various races. Even the humans who have been training outside have been killed by them. That's why we have to kill them this time. We have to kill them until the large sects in the outside world are afraid. After we kill them, they won't dare to send anyone in again. This way, the 100-clan battlefield will truly belong to us in the future. The black-robed elder's words made the other sages present angry and filled with killing intent. Well, inform all the races to hunt for foreign talents. Also, many of them will probably go to the Alliance Mountain. When the time comes, we'll ambush them there. Remember, pick the most talented ones to kill. The more talented they are, the more heartache and fear they'll feel. They won't dare to send anyone here in the future. The black-robed elder said, "All right, let's do that." I'll immediately inform the other races. Ambush and kill foreign heaven's favorites. The other sages nodded and turned into streaks of light, leaving the place. Chapter 1647. 1647. All caught Lu Ming and Huang Ling flew towards Darkwater City. 2 days later, Darkwater City appeared in front of them. When the two of them entered the city gate, the soldiers guarding the city looked at them coldly, but they did not move. The soldiers guarding the gate, "Something is wrong. They seem to want to attack us." Walking on the streets of Darkwater City, Huang Ling frowned. "It's not just the guards. The other people on the street are also looking at me weirdly. Also, did you notice that you don't seem to see any young men who are too powerful?" Lu Ming also frowned. Huang Ling sized them up and realized that the people on the street were looking at them with strange expressions. Moreover, there really weren't many young experts. Occasionally, he would see some whose cultivation wasn't very strong. It was obvious that they were local youths. It was as if the young heaven's favorites who came here to train had disappeared into thin air. "Not good. I'm afraid the situation has changed." Lu Ming had a bad premonition. "Let's go to the Phoenix Palace first." Huang Ling was a little anxious. The two of them rose into the air and flew toward the Phoenix Palace. Soon, they arrived at the Phoenix Palace. However, there was no one in the Phoenix Palace. The Phoenix Palace was completely empty. There was not a single disciple of the Phoenix Palace. It was as if the disciples of the Phoenix Palace had vanished into thin air. What's going on? Could it be that something had happened in the past 3 months that caused all the young sovereigns to leave Darkwater City? Or have they all withdrawn from the 100-clan battlefield? Huang Ling was very confused. On the way, she had learned from Lu Ming that they had stayed in the tomb of the Reincarnation Emperor for 3 months. Holy Maiden! At this moment, an old woman flew over and bowed to Feng Ling. "You are..." Huang Ling was stunned. "Holy Maiden, it's me." At this moment, the old woman's form changed rapidly, turning into a young and beautiful woman. The old woman earlier was this woman in disguise. "Huang Xian, it's you. What happened?" Huang Ling asked. It was obvious that the young woman was a disciple of Phoenix Palace. The saintess has been captured. The other senior and junior brothers and sisters have been captured by the local experts. I was able to disguise myself and blended into the local crowd in time. That's how I escaped. Saintess, let's go. The local experts will be here soon. Huang Xian said anxiously. A native expert? Huang Ling was a little stunned. Buzz, buzz, and NBSP whoosh. At this time, a violent air-piercing sound was heard. At least a few dozen rainbow lights cut through the void and flew toward them. Dozens of powerhouses in armor descended above the Phoenix Palace in an instant, exuding a powerful aura. The dozens of people were all in the half-saint realm. More than a dozen of them were in the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, the realm where the laws could be infused into the body. "Take down all of the foreign chosen." A burly man shouted. "Attack!" Dozens of experts attacked immediately. They launched fierce attacks, wanting to severely injure Lu Ming and Huang Ling in one go. "You're looking for death, die!" Huang Ling shouted angrily. The immortal flame burned and turned into an immortal flame phoenix. It pounced forward and killed 5 or 6 half-saints with a flap of its wings. On the other hand, Lu Ming threw more than a dozen punches in a row. Each punch sent a fist radiance flying through the air. Each fist radiance could blow up an expert in the air. To Lu Ming, there was no difference whether it was the law tank or the 2nd stage of the half-saint. He could kill an ordinary half-saint in one move. "Evil creature, you're looking for death." At this time, a loud shout came from the depths of Darkwater City, and a terrifying aura shot up into the sky. "Oh no, it's a sage. Let's rush out first." Huang Ling's expression changed. "All right," Lu Ming said. Then he used the Thunderwind steps and appeared in front of a local half-saint in a flash. He reached out and grabbed the man's throat. Then he carried the burly man and rushed out of the Darkwater City with Huang Ling and Huang Xian. In the depths of Darkwater City, An elder rushed out and slashed out a terrifying sword light. This was an expert in the initial sacred brightness realm. Lu Ming threw a punch and destroyed the sword light. Huang Ling used her vital essence to carry Huang Xian, and the three of them rushed out of Darkwada City at top speed. In a short while, he rushed out of Darkwada City and rushed into the distance. In Darkwada City, the old man in the Sage Realm seemed to be a little afraid and did not pursue. Lu Ming and the rest only stopped after flying for a long time. Lu Ming sealed the cultivation of the local half-saint and threw him on the ground. Huang Xian, what's going on? Huang Ling asked. I don't know either. About a month ago, the locals suddenly launched an attack. Many of the saints attacked the talents of the foreign forces. Many of them were killed. Many of our Phoenix Palace died as well. The others were captured, and some of them escaped the city. Huang Xian explained. What are the races on the 100 Clan battlefield trying to do? Huang Ling's eyes were burning with flames. They had also been attacked by the saints of various races in the 100 Clan battlefield after coming out of the tomb of the Reincarnation Emperor. Was this all a coincidence? Well, no, if we ask this guy. Lu Ming stepped on the local half-saint's Danton and said, Speak, why did you attack us? Haha, don't you know your own limits? The 100 Clan battlefield belongs to the various races of the 100 Clan battlefield. You outsiders, there are always people coming in to plunder the treasures here and kill the people of the various races. You all deserve to die. This time, the various races of the 100 Clan battlefield have joined forces to kill all of you so that the large sects in the outside world will never dare to send anyone here again. The local half-saint laughed wildly. I see. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. It seemed like the native races held a deep grudge against the foreign heavens favorites. They must have planned this for a long time to kill them. It didn't matter how strong the large sects and factions outside were. Experts above the Saint Realm couldn't enter the 100 Clan battlefield. As a result, they could only give up on the 100 Clan battlefield, a place where geniuses were trained. Tell me, where are the people you captured hiding? Huang Ling asked. There's no harm in telling you. Those who were caught in the Alliance Mountain were all taken there, including the disciples of your Phoenix Palace. They'll all be killed there and sacrificed to our ancestors. Ha! The local half-saint laughed. Meng Mountain. Huang Ling frowned. She then looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, I'm going to Meng Mountain to save the disciples of Phoenix Palace. I'll take my leave now. They had formed an alliance because of the tomb of the Samsara Emperor. Now that the trip to the tomb of the Samsara Emperor was over, their alliance was naturally over. Huang Ling, I'm afraid this is a trap set by the native races. It's probably very dangerous to go to the Alliance Mountain. Lu Ming said. I know, but I can't just leave so many disciples of Phoenix Palace. Phoenix Spirit sighed. Chapter 1648, 1648 Killing a Saint Stage Ferocious Beast. Those who could enter the 100 Clan battlefield were all geniuses, and most of them had superior earth spiritual bodies. If they all died here, the Phoenix Palace would suffer a great loss. She was the Phoenix Palace's saintess, so she had to be saved. I'll go with you. Lu Ming smiled faintly. You're coming with me? Huang Ling was stunned. An extra person, an extra helper, why? Are you touched? Lu Ming said with a smile. Many thanks. Huang Ling cupped her fists. All right, then let's set off to the Alliance Mountain. This is also a training experience, but this time, our opponents have changed to saints. Lu Ming laughed heroically. Then his vital essence burst forth and killed the local half-saint. After that, Lu Ming, Huang Ling, and Huang Xian headed for the Union Mountain. Huang Ling had been in the 100 Clan battlefield for a long time, so she naturally knew where the Alliance Mountain was. Alliance Mountain was the place where all the races of the 100 Clan battlefield gathered. Every once in a while, the various races of the 100 Tribe battlefield would gather at the Alliance Mountain to discuss matters. A day later, the three of them had already covered a long distance. Boom, boom. Suddenly, a violent explosion came from the front. The sky rumbled loudly, and the sky was filled with lightning. Following that, there was a roar and a sword chi that broke through the air and shot into the clouds. There, a terrifying battle was taking place. "Let's go take a look," Lu Ming said. The three of them concealed their auras and flew into the sky. The fluctuations in front of him were very shocking. There were two mighty beams of saintly might that filled the sky. "It's him, Yidong Feng." Not long after, Lu Ming saw the people engaged in a great battle. One of them was Yi Dongfang. In addition, there were two experts besieging Yi Dongfang. One of them was a giant lizard-like beast with bone spikes all over its body. It was the beast that had fought with Lu Ming outside the tomb of the Samsara Emperor. The other one was a human saint. He was in existence at the initial Bright Saint realm. In reality, it was extremely difficult to break through to the Saint realm in the 100-clan battlefield. As a result, most of the saints in the 100-clan battlefield were initial Bright Saints. "You can't escape. Today, you must die." The giant lizard beast roared and its claws were like mountains as it attacked Yi Dongfang. The human saint's sword light bloomed, and it was extremely terrifying. He kept slashing at Yi Dongfang. Yi Dongfang was strong, but he was no match for two saints alone. He was in a bad shape, his hair disheveled, his body covered in blood, and his breath weak. He let out a long roar as if he had transformed into a god of thunder. Terrifying power of thunder filled the air, and the laws of thunder burst forth as he fought with the two saints. The thick lightning sometimes swept across a mountain, and the mountain would directly collapse. However, a saint was just as terrifying. His saint power was unparalleled. With one strike, he could obliterate the power of the lightning laws. "Save Yi Dongfang," Lu Ming said. "All right." Huang Ling nodded. Yi Dongfang was a decent man, and they were still too weak to go to the Meng Mountains. If they could get Yi Dongfang to help them, they would be even stronger. "Leave the giant lizard to me. You and Yi Dongfang will deal with the human warrior," Lu Ming said. The phoenix spirit nodded and let Huang Xian stay here. Huang Xian could not interfere in a battle of this level. "Sila." Lu Ming activated the thundering wind steps. With a flash of wind and thunder, his figure dashed out rapidly towards the giant lizard beast. The black dragon spear appeared in Lu Ming's hands and he flung it out abruptly. Like a bolt of lightning, it tore through the air and stabbed at the giant lizard beast. Lu Ming's spirit body was very powerful now. When he threw the spear, it was covered with the ultimate chaos domain. The terrifying sound of the spear breaking through the air made the giant lizard beast feel frightened. The giant lizard beast roared and ignored Yi Dongfang. It slapped the black dragon spear with its scale-covered palm. The black dragon spear pierced through the scales on the giant lizard beast's claws, all the way to the handle. The giant lizard beast's palm was bleeding profusely. It let out an explosive roar, and at this moment, Lu Ming had already arrived. "It's you!" The giant lizard beast roared angrily, a hint of fear in its eyes. He was very clear about Lu Ming's combat strength. "This time I'll kill you," Lu Ming said coldly. A chaos sky-turning stamp formed in his palm and suppressed the lizard beast. The giant lizard roared and fought back with all its might. However, after colliding with the primal chaos heaven-flipping seal, its huge body trembled and it retreated continuously. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted. A chaos sky-turning stamp appeared in each of his hands and he smashed it at the giant lizard beast. Boom, boom. The two consecutive attacks made it difficult for the giant lizard to stand in the air. It was smashed to the ground, causing dust to fly everywhere. On the other side, Lu Ming's participation jolted Yi Dongfang's spirit. The power of lightning spread all over his body, and he focused all his attention on the human saint. At this time, Huang Ling had also arrived and joined forces with Yi Dongfang. The human saint was immediately at a disadvantage. "You're the one who's going to die today." Yi Dongfang seemed like he was going to explode with anger. He attacked the human saint like a storm. With the help of Huang Ling, the human saint was hit by a bolt of lightning. Even his saint power protection was penetrated, and he spat out blood. "Damn it!" The human saint shouted angrily and wanted to retreat. However, neither Huang Ling nor Yi Dongfang was weaker than him. He couldn't get out at the moment. On the other side, Lu Ming had already completely suppressed the giant lizard beast. He rushed onto the back of the giant lizard beast and used the prison suppression heaven technique. His vital essence surged into the flowing essence gloves in a frenzy and blasted the back of the giant lizard beast. Boom! As the punch landed, scales flew everywhere and a huge hole was blasted on the back of the giant lizard beast. Even its bone armor was broken. Its huge body heavily smashed into the ground, creating a huge pit. The giant lizard beast howled in pain. Its saint energy condensed into a terrifying attack, trying to blast Lu Ming off its back. At this moment, more than 10 holy weapons appeared on Lu Ming's body. Like the black wings, a shield holy weapon blocked the lizard beast's attack. Lu Ming grabbed a holy weapon sword and stabbed it into the wound on the lizard beast. The sword chi exploded and pierced deep into the lizard beast's body. Then Lu Ming's power burst out and he cut horizontally. Sila! The giant lizard beast's body was almost cut in half, and blood flowed all over the ground. The giant lizard beast roared as its huge body rolled on the ground. Lu Ming soared into the sky. In the sky, an exceptionally huge chaos sky-turning seal condensed. This was the chaos sky-turning seal at its full power. Boom! The 100% power of the primal chaos sky-turning seal pressed down on the giant lizard beast and smashed into it. Although the giant lizard beast tried its best to counterattack, it was useless. It was already severely injured, so how could it block the 100% power of the chaos sky-turning seal? Chapter 1649, 1649 Alliance Mountain. Joining hands, the ground exploded and gravel flew everywhere. A huge pit appeared on the ground. When the primal chaos sky-turning seal disappeared, the giant lizard beast lay in the deep pit like a pool of mud. There was no sign of life. The saint stage lizard beast was dead. It was killed by Lu Ming. On the other battlefield, the human saint was terrified when he saw this. He was almost scared to death. He could kill a saint before he became a saint. Even though he was a member of the 100 Clan battlefield and had seen countless foreign prodigies since he was young, it was still extremely rare for someone to have such a battle record. For example, geniuses like Huang Ling, Yi Dongfang, and the Golden Crow 10th Prince who had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm could only fight with ordinary saints. It was impossible to kill them, unless it was an even stronger heaven's favorite. But now Lu Ming had done it. Even Yi Dongfang and Huang Ling were shocked. Even though they came from a huge emperor-ranked power and had seen many things, such a battle record was extremely rare. Most importantly, Lu Ming was only at the 1st stage of the half-saint realm. If he could reach the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm, comprehend the laws, or even reach the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, how terrifying would his combat power be? The saint tried his best to break out of the encirclement, but he was entangled by Huang Ling and Yi Dongfang. He was hit by Huang Ling and almost burned half of his body. With a wave of his hand, the black dragon spear that had pierced into the giant lizard beast's palm flew out and was put away by Lu Ming. He then looked around and finally found a storage ring in the giant lizard beast's mouth. Then, step by step, he walked toward the human saint, which made the human saint's heart turn cold. 12 saint weapons surrounded Lu Ming. He held the black dragon spear and charged at the human saint like a bolt of black lightning. There was no longer any suspense in this battle. With Lu Ming's participation, the human saint's fate was sealed. In the end, it let out an indignant roar and was killed by Lu Ming and the other two. As for the human saint's storage ring, Huang Ling and Yi Dongfang did not take it. They said that it was Lu Ming's credit, so Lu Ming naturally took it without any hesitation. "Brother Lu, Miss Feng Ling, thank you for saving me." Yi Dong saluted Lu Ming and Feng Ling, his eyes filled with gratitude. If not for Lu Ming and Huang Ling, he would have been surrounded by 2 saints and would have been in danger. "It's nothing, no need to be so polite. Brother Yi, where are you going next?" Lu Ming asked. "I was planning to go to the Alliance Mountain. I heard that many disciples of the Thunder God sect are imprisoned there. I was going to save them, but I didn't expect to be attacked by 2 saints." Yi Dongfang said. That's great. We're going to Meng Mountain too. How about we work together?" Lu Ming said with a smile. Yi Dongfang's eyes lit up and he said in joy, "That's great, I can't ask for more." The four of them immediately left and flew towards the Meng Mountains. Although Yi Dongfang was slightly injured, it was not particularly serious. With his thunder attribute heavenly spirit body, his vitality was extremely strong, and he could heal his injuries while flying. Another day passed, and a majestic mountain appeared in front of the four. The mountain was huge, lush, and full of towering trees. This was the Alliance Mountain. The four of them didn't approach. Instead, they hid in the clouds and watched from a distance. With their eyesight, they could clearly see the situation on the mountain even from a distance. At the top of the mountain, there was a flat piece of land. Many young people were sitting on it. At a glance, there were at least 1,000 of them. They were all prodigies from various sects and powers who had entered the 100-clan battlefield. A disciple of Phoenix Palace, Huang Ling said softly. Among the crowd, she saw about 20 Phoenix Palace disciples. At the same time, Yi Dongfang also discovered the disciples of Thunder God Palace. There were powerhouses standing guard around these young men. There were humans and terrifying alien races, one in each direction. There were 4 of them in total, and they were obviously all saints. In other areas of the mountain, there were also figures moving, but they were all below the saint realm. Only 4 sage realm experts? A flash of lightning appeared in Yi Dongfang's eyes, but he did not act rashly. The various races of the 100-clan battlefield have been planning this for a long time. Their main goal is to kill a large number of prodigies. But now, there are so many people imprisoned here. They're clearly trying to lure us here for an ambush. I'm guessing that there are many powerful existences hidden in the dark. Lu Ming speculated. Otherwise, we wouldn't have known that they were being escorted here so easily. I'm afraid that the locals have already received the news. As long as we ask, they will tell us the news. Huang Ling also nodded. Then what should we do? We can't just sit here and do nothing. After a few days, the other party might really make a move. Yi Dongfang said anxiously. I have an idea, but we don't have enough people. We still need some help. After pondering for a moment, Lu Ming said, there are many disciples of the sects and forces who have been captured here. There will definitely be others coming to rescue them. We will contact them secretly and attack together, said Huang Ling. The 4 of them observed for a while, then retreated to a cloud in the distance to observe from a distance. In another direction of Lu Ming's group of 4, 2 figures in golden robes stood in a mass of clouds. One of them was the 10th Golden Crow Prince, and the other was also a member of the Golden Crow race. Crown Prince, what do we do now? There are more than a dozen people in my clan. If they capture us, should we save them or not? The Golden Crow race member asked. Save? The other side has many experts and is obviously waiting for us to take the bait. In order to save them, we put ourselves in danger. Do you think it's worth it? The Golden Crow 10th Prince said coldly. And NBSP, the Golden Crow race member, lowered his head and didn't speak. Let's go. Leave the 100-clan battlefield. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said coldly. He then retreated and disappeared. Following that, more and more people came to watch from afar. However, there were some who did the same thing as the Golden Crow 10th Prince and immediately backed out. There were others who were unwilling to give up and paced back and forth in the surroundings, hiding and watching from a distance. Lu Ming and the other 3 flew toward a mountain peak where 4 young geniuses were. Who is it? The 4 of them looked at Lu Ming and the rest at the same time. It's you guys? The 4 of them were stunned. Xia Ding, the 4 of you should also want to save him, right? Lu Ming stepped forward. The 4 of them were Xia Ding and the other 3 who had attacked Lu Ming and Huang Ling in an attempt to steal the map and key to the tomb of the Samsara King. Not bad. Xia Ding stared at Lu Ming and said cautiously. Lu Ming's current combat strength was extremely shocking. If he were to take revenge and attack them, the 4 of them would not be a match for Lu Ming even if they joined forces. How about we join forces? We also want to save people. Lu Ming said. Join hands? Xia Ding and the other 3's gazes flickered before they turned to look at Huang Ling and Yi Dongfeng. All right, we agree to join hands. After a moment of silence, Xia Ding nodded his head. Chapter 1650 Chapter 1650 Saving people. Just like that, Lu Ming's team had 4 more people. In the next 2 days, Lu Ming and the group wandered around and invited some people to join forces. For example, the yellow-robed young man and another strong cultivator were no weaker than Yi Dongfang. There were also a few other Heaven's favorites who were slightly weaker. In this way, they added up to more than a dozen people. For example, there were 4 people at the level of Yi Dongfang and Huang Ling. Lu Ming, what is your plan? Huang Ling could not help but ask Lu Ming. I have a technique that can change my aura. I'll disguise myself as a native and approach the top of the mountain. Then you guys pretend to attack and attract some experts. I'll rush in and save those who need to be saved. Then we'll break out of the siege together. Lu Ming said. Are you sure no one can recognize your aura-changing technique? Some people were skeptical. Lu Ming smiled. He activated the illusionary breath technique, and the aura on his body changed to be exactly the same as that person. The expressions of the people present changed drastically. There was actually such a mystical secret technique. Lu Ming smiled. The illusionary breathing technique that he had obtained in the divine wilderness continent back then was indeed amazing. Even now, it was still very useful. As long as his cultivation level doesn't exceed mine by too much, he won't be able to sense it. It shouldn't be a problem to hide from a few bright sages for a short time. Lu Ming said. All right, let's do that. Yi Dongfang waved his hand, and a hint of fighting intent appeared in his eyes. The others agreed one after another. This method was better than directly attacking. Wait for me in the distance. When I'm close to the peak, I'll send a message to Feng Ling that's the time to attack. Lu Ming said. The others nodded in succession. Then, Lu Ming landed on the ground. The chaos domain transformed into the earth domain. Lu Ming's body sank into the ground and disappeared. Lu Ming shuttled through the ground, completely concealing his aura as he headed for the Union Mountain. As Lu Ming approached the Union Mountain, he picked a local who was at the 9th level martial royal realm and killed him in an instant. Then, Lu Ming changed his clothes and changed his appearance rapidly. In the end, he looked exactly the same as the other person, even his aura. After throwing the corpse into a cave, Lu Ming swaggered to the peak. Naturally, there were no obstacles along the way. Very soon, Lu Ming arrived at the top of the mountain. In front of him, a huge blood-red tiger suddenly opened its eyes. Its lightning-like gaze fell on Lu Ming, as if it wanted to see through him. The blood-red tiger was one of the 4 saints who were guarding the mountain. What are you doing here? The blood-red tiger opened its mouth, and a saint's might emanated from it. Its aura was oppressive. Senior, I have important news to report to you. Lu Ming said. What news? The blood-red tiger said. This. Lu Ming hesitated for a moment. He looked left and right on purpose. He held a voice transmission jade talisman in his hand and secretly sent a message to Huang Ling. In the distance, in a cloud, Huang Ling received Lu Ming's message. Lu Ming has sent out the news. Let's do it, said Huang Ling instantly. More than a dozen figures rushed towards Meng Mountain at extreme speed. The air whistled and released a terrifying aura. They've finally made their move. The blood-red tiger sneered and looked in the direction of Huang Ling and the others, but it did not move. Boom, boom. At this moment, terrifying auras shot up into the sky from the Union Mountain. The holy might was vast, and 10 different figures rushed out. There were indeed terrifying experts lying in ambush here. 10 saints charged towards Huang Ling and the others. Not good, there are too many experts on the other side. Retreat! Retreat! Huang Ling shouted and they retreated quickly. Don't let them get away. Some of the saints roared, and the 10 saints chased after Huang Ling. This time, I'm going to leave all of them behind. The blood-red tiger sneered, then looked at Lu Ming. What did you want to report? Senior, what I want to say is that there are other people who have sneaked in. Lu Ming said. Who is it? The blood-red tiger's eyes shone with golden light. That is... Lu Ming suddenly let out a loud roar. He stomped on the ground, causing the ground to crack. Lu Ming's figure charged towards the blood-red tiger, and he threw a punch at the blood-red tiger. Lu Ming had used almost all his strength in this punch. You! The blood-red tiger did not expect that Lu Ming would suddenly attack. It wanted to dodge, but it was too late. The punch landed squarely on the tiger's head. Even though the tiger was a Saint Realm expert, it could not withstand the blow. Its entire head exploded and its body flew out. Buzz! Lu Ming rushed over immediately. The space between his brows glowed and the mountain and river diagram appeared. A beam of light descended and enveloped the disciples of the Phoenix Palace. The disciples of Phoenix Palace were sucked into the mountain and river diagram. Then, the light of the mountain and river diagram turned again, and the disciples of the Thunder God sect were also taken in. "You're looking for death. Kill him." At this moment, the saints who were guarding the other directions finally reacted. They were furious and rushed toward Lu Ming. Collect, collect, collect. Lu Ming controlled the mountain and river diagram and frantically kept the young men. A pagoda appeared above his head. Bubbles cast the space-time domain and 3 transparent bubbles suddenly enveloped the 3 saints, causing them to stop in midair. Bubbles had already reached the half-saint stage and was extremely powerful. When she used her space-time domain, it was enough to affect a saint. By the time the 3 saints broke free of the space-time domain's influence, Lu Ming had already taken away more than half of the youths on the mountaintop. "Kill, kill!" A loud shout came from the Union Mountain. A beam of demonic light shot out and a black-robed elder appeared, exuding a terrifying aura. "It's him!" Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. This black-robed old man had fought outside the tomb of the Samsara Emperor. He was a great sage and was extremely powerful. Lu Ming was not his match yet. "Let's go!" Lu Ming put away the mountain and river diagram and dashed into the distance. Save us, save us!" The remaining young men shouted madly, and among them were the Golden Crow race. However, Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He could not be bothered with these people. Furthermore, the elites of these sects had already retreated on their own, such as the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Why would Lu Ming save them? The people that Lu Ming had saved were those who had joined forces with them. "Stay here!" The black-robed elder's killing intent was extremely strong. Demonic chi soared to the sky as a huge palm print came crashing down on Lu Ming. Lu Ming got Bubbles to open a space-time tunnel and he rushed into it. When he reappeared, he was already near Huang Ling and the rest. "Let's go!" The group of people gathered and flew forward at high speed. However, the next moment, Lu Ming and the rest had a drastic change of expression. Because a few auras rose up in front of him. They were extremely terrifying auras. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.